What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl Adara, and as per usual, we're gonna wait for everyone to migrate on over. We already have Big Darwin, Tony Price, the Crazy Stitch Lady. Hello. Apparently they don't even sell. So
you didn't even introduce yourself. You said this is your girl Adara, but you never introduced yourself.
I'm Sharif, by the way. We got Charge On, we got Mr. Longshort, Nate Belt, we got Stup, Anurag, Diet Soda, Benson Yang, The Boring Man, Teddy Arba, Bob Dub. We got D-Loaf as well. We migrated, baby, says D-Loaf. Shout out to you. Adam DeLuce, Charles Butler, Little Ragu. All right, Little Ragu. That's pretty cool. We got Ronaldo. We got Peter's son, Sebastian, the one TX Trader, Sharon X, Ichiban. We got Pay Big Dave. I love that name. Pay the man. Pay Big Dave. Shout out to you, Pay Big Dave. Yes, yo, my man. What's the look right now, Dara? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. Can't complain. Well, I can, but I won't.
That's always nice when that happens. Yeah, I'm in this. I got in and out video in the 5 minutes before the show came on, so I want to talk about this. Basically what happened was I wanted to go get my tea, but before I got my tea, I noticed this kind of rounded bottom here in NVIDIA. We had this sort of pseudo double bottom around this 773.40 area, and then kind of was making higher lows. So I got involved here. I put a resting order, I think, at 774.60s, not thinking it would get filled while I got my tea, so I put a really small position just in case. I come back, it's $1 in the money. I was like, so I decided just to kind of get out some scalpulation and watch what happened. My initial goal was going to be 777. We had a hard time with that while I was in it. Obviously, we've since eclipsed that level, so I decided to get out that 776.50. So about $2 in the money, really small position, just trying to kind of flex the muscles, seeing an opportunity and getting involved. So that's what's happening with NVDA. Thank you very much. How was your? I see you were in Vani.
We're in Vani at the moment, Dara. We wet our beak there through the break of 5. We'll talk about this trade. Look, you know, I don't know how long this trade has left on at the moment because of the consecutively lower highs and the flat bottom that it's currently putting in at VWAP. Now, it may hold the flat bottom. Not every chart pattern that looks like a flat bottom break is going to manifest into a flat bottom break. So here's what I'm talking about right now. There's the top at 780. Then we get another lower high just below 6. Another lower high at 5 1/5. And then each successive high after that is just a little bit lower. However, that flat bottom at VWAP hasn't changed. You've had very perfunctory dips, wicks below VWAP, but immediately it's bought back up. We're long right now, 455. We're printing 68s at the moment. The best out so far was that $5 print that we got there on the red candle. The next beak wetter is sitting on the other side of 5 at 5 1/4, but I don't know how long I'm going to hold on to this for, as you know, this is doing the flat bottom break pattern. So I may have to look short here. And now I don't know how much shorts are going to cost me. Usually we have everything. Okay, so now I have to concentrate because we are at that 4.5 level again, where VWAP is, and right back up again. So there's a buyer clearly right there at VWAP every time we dip in to the volume weighted average price on Vani. So far, we've been bought up, but my patience is running thin with this trade as I have to concentrate on teaching. And teaching, you can't really teach and trade these small cap gappers at the same time. It just, you know, they're just too volatile. I have a stop in place, but I have to make decisions on the fly. And so I think I'm just going to flatten this trade as soon as we start the lesson. I also had a trade on BYND. I'll cover that in one second. I actually took a long off the bottom on Beyond Meat and actually worked. So I'm going to flatten out this trade here. That's fine. So we'll break even on the remaining portion because we have to start the lesson. And then if it decides what it wants to do with its life, then maybe we'll trade it again. I'm talking about VANI. All right, let's load up the lesson, baby. We are talking about fibs all week. All day. And shout out to Ram for helping me actually make my presentations look a little bit more presentable because they were very rudimentary and I was criticized for having such a bleak background. Ram coming in there with her talents and helping me fix this one up. So fib retracements today. We're talking about market theories all week. In case you're just joining us, we covered Dow theory on Monday. We covered Elliott wave theory yesterday. And today, the natural extension of that is talk about some fibs. All right, so let's get to it. What are they based on? Fibonacci's. First and foremost, they are a popular technical tool, a technical analysis tool used to identify potential areas of both support and resistance in various market contexts. You can do it for stocks, Forex, commodities. Fibs apply everywhere because they are naturally occurring. We'll talk about that in a sec. So what are they based on? They are based on what we call the Fibonacci sequence, a series of numbers where each number is the sum of the two preceding ones. For example, 1 and 1, obviously, will be 2. 1 and 2 will be 3. 2 and 3 will be 5. 3 and 5 will be 8. You guys get it, right? This sequence is found in nature and in financial markets, and traders use specific ratios within the sequence to predict price moves. So that's basically what they are based on. But how are they used, right? Because we're trading here. So they are used first and foremost to identify the trend. First, you need to understand what the overall trend is of the market. Is it upward? Is it downward? Or is it sideways? Fibonacci retracements work best in trending markets. So very much like moving averages. Remember that week we talked about moving averages? And we said moving averages, you know, unless you're going to use them for support and resistance exclusively, they're very bad in consolidative markets because you get fake signals like the golden cross or the death cross with the 50 and the 200. You're going to get umpteen amount of crosses between those two moving averages during consolidative markets. And very much similar, you're not going to get any crosses on fibs, obviously, because they're horizontal, but very similar to the moving averages, fibs, not that great in consolidative markets. So make sure you understand what direction the trend is before using them. And then they also help define swing points. So choose the high. I'm going to show you an example in a second here. So you're choosing the high or the low point, depending on whether you're shorting or going long, of the trend you've already identified. And then basically if the trend is upward, for example, you choose the recent swing low, bottom, and then you basically pull that up to the high. So case in point, let's bring in a side chart over here. What are we going to use? Maybe we'll use... what's a good one here? Give me a good name where we had very high and low points that we could kind of...
Today?
No, it can be on the daily.
Oh, really high and really low.
PanDub, thank you, Katina, man, because I'm already in that. I'm in PanW, guys, by the way. I didn't update everybody on my new positions. But here's PanDub. All right, we're just going to take PanDub. We're going to say, look, we're going to take the COVID bottom on PanDub. Forget, there was no even COVID bottom on PanDub. It wasn't around during COVID, I guess. Okay, so we'll just take from the low point here, let's just say January 2023, when the market started moving up again, right? And then we're going to take the fib. So the way I do it is you select it in the technical trading tools. You basically put the starting point of the fib at the low, and you drag it up to the high, right? So you have your 0 and your 100. And then you're going to get a series of lines in between your 0 point and your 100 point. You're going to get 76.4, 61.8. You're going to get your 50% as well as your 38.2 and your 23 was at 0.6. And you can flip these up. And there's more fibs too, by the way. When you zoom out, there's higher above 100. But for our purposes, we're just going to use the 0 and 100. So what you're looking for here, but by defining these swing points is you want to identify the low and the high because what comes in the middle is going to be what we use after, right? So just before I do that, I have to continue with the less. So that's what yeah, exactly, the lesion. Those are your swing points. And then you're going to draw the Fibonacci retracement lines. And these are done automatically using the tool, right, that I just used over here. So basically what you're going to have is you're going to have the 23.6 that I just mentioned, the 38.2, the 50, the 61.8, and the 78.6. These ratios are used to calculate horizontal lines on the chart, creating potential support and resistance zones. So if you're looking long, for example, and something comes down into that 2/3 retracement or the 1/3 retracement, you're looking at that level for a possible support level. So case in point, we've used this area over here in January 2023 as our 0, and we just used the PanDub 380 touch over there as our 100. So we're looking at where it stopped off. Well, lo and behold, lo and behold, look at that big move up to that 380 point, and look where it ends up stopping up. This is called the Nancy Pelosi bottom over here at 260, because Nancy started buying calls right at that level. No, I'm kidding, of course, but there is a reason why it ended up stopping right at 260. It could be because of the fibs. We were not going to really know, but in this case, it's confirmation. Then look where we popped up to before we found resistance. We came up to that 76.4 point, which is at that 320 level. So I'm a little sweaty here, I apologize. So, you know, with respect to Pan W, it looks like fibs looking real good here. All right. And here's an example of it. This is just another example that we were talking about. You've got, for whatever reason here on the Australian dollar in Japan, they use this as their low, they use that as their high, and they basically try to gauge the retracement, where the retracement would come into, and that would be their buy point there. So what do they tell us? The theory behind Fibonacci retracements is that after a strong price movement, the price might retrace or go back or go up, in case of something that we're looking short, a certain portion of that move before continuing in the original direction. So the idea for Panned Up, for example, is when it comes into that 50% retracement area, and then it makes its way right back up. So the Fibonacci levels act as potential zones where buyers and sellers might step in, creating areas of both support and resistance. So that's basically what fibs are telling us. And here are some other important key notes. So there are limitations to fibs. Some traders argue that the amount of Fibonacci levels make it likely that the price will reverse at or near one of these levels. This makes it difficult to know which level would be useful at the time. And that's why you wait for it to base out at that level and then get it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say. You're not just going to have a resting order there at the 50% retracement because in your opinion, it should stop at 50%. It's got to show you I'm stopping here or I'm rejecting here in the case of a short, and then you wait for it to prove that that is an area of either support or resistance before getting in. So that's interesting with respect to the limitation. There's also a history. So Leonardo Pisano, can't say this guy's name, all right, did not create the Fibonacci sequence, but he is credited with introducing Fibonacci numbers to Europe. The discovery and the development of Fibonacci numbers is credited to mathematicians in India around 600, 800 AD. And there's some other theories as well. Fibonacci levels also play a role in theories like Elliott wave, and we talked about how fibs featured in Elliott wave theory yesterday. Go back and have a look at that. And Gartley patterns, which we haven't talked about on the show. And these Gartley patterns are used to help identify reaction highs and lows. So those are some key points to remember there. And then just remember, guys, these are not predictive. Fib retracements are not guaranteed to indicate future price movements, but they can offer potential areas of interest. And I really want to highlight that. These are potential areas of interest. You have to see if the price action is going to jive with that particular area that you've earmarked. Confirmation is key, as always, with everything in technical analysis. Other technical indicators like doing, a MACD assessment or even fundamental analysis outside of technical analysis should be used to confirm the support and resistance based on these fib retracements. And like everything else in technical analysis, they're not perfect. Fib retracements can be subjective and unreliable. For example, the fact that I chose to draw the 0 point from January 2023 when it was widely, accepted that the market started its bull run again after that bearish 2022. That's subjective. Why did I choose January 2023? I could have chosen October of 2022, which is basically when a lot of these stocks based out. It's, again, widely accepted that October 2022 was the weakest point in all of 2022. So, it is a little bit subjective there. Those are some of the limitations that you choose. Questions or comments, Adair?
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting how they do come from math. So there's that if you're into that, you can, like the fact that they're kind of, these levels are present, or you can find them in a lot of aspects of life, could give them maybe a little bit more significance if you're into that. I also think it's interesting too, I wasn't aware until I was doing the notes for this, that they actually did come from mathematicians in India, right? So it shows in like 600 AD. So this shows how long these levels have been here for, right? So I think that's really interesting as well. Fibonacci didn't actually create them, but he did develop them and bring them to Europe. So I think, I mean, maybe, there's just some kind of fun history facts there as well, but I think it gives you some context on the development and how long these actually really have come into play here, these Fibonacci levels.
It wouldn't be the first. I mean, like, the Arabs created algebra, but you don't really hear too much about that in math class either. So it's interesting, right? There's a lot of the historical side is not really covered, but it doesn't really matter. All right, guys, let's have a look at this VANI trade. Pleased as dang punch that I got out right where I did, because as I started doing the lesson, this thing is on its way down, broke VWAP, broke the $4 level, nothing really standing in this way. It's at 386 right now, but there was this area over here at around, what time was that? That was in the pre-market, so around 8:59. We did have issues with this 380 level for whatever reason, and this is when I was actually at the big desk and I told Brendo, oh, this looks really good, this 375, 380 level. So this is an interesting area here where it's basing out. If it ends up holding this area, I may be inclined to take this long again. Now, I know this kind of breaks my rule with the small cap gappers and taking them long south of VWAP, but I do like this area here in the pre, and it's awfully strong, 285%. I'm going to take this with small size if I do take it, and then if it runs up, maybe we'll look to add a little bit there.
Yeah, no, I think that's that Vani was a really nice look here. I was kind of curious about that, A, because we were rangy heading in before that flat bottom break, and B, we know I like trading these weight loss names. Sharif has called me, like, the GLP-1 trader, and I've certainly done a host of that, so I think that's kind of interesting. I did get in and out of a trade briefly there that I want to talk about. I saw something in the chat, like, kind of like, why getting in on Amazon at this area of support, and I want to talk about this. I like the range we had here. Then I realized, hey, this actually, especially when we kind of curled back up at that VWAP, or not VWAP, sorry, my 9 EMA, I realized this actually could be a flat top break to the upside, so that's why I got out. But yeah, it was where I was planning on getting out anyway, that 173.50, super tight stop on this. But yeah, not displeased, even though this was not a successful trade, and that's because I stuck to the plan, which I'm learning is sometimes more important than the trade working out how you want it to. So yeah, here's also this meta short. Just trying to take it short off the 9 EMA. Tried to do it earlier here, completely missed that opportunity. Now I'm here. If we kind of get decisively above that 485.50 area, which is where we had a lot of support there earlier, I'm going to be,
oh my God,
definitely either adding a little bit or getting out entirely, depending on what we do there, because I think that could be an area at which we spike back up with a vengeance. Also, there was a super chat here from Ahmed Amwala. AED 729, thank you so much for the super chat there. Hi, Adora. Google weak, but it can do it. Let me look at
Adora?
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe that's their nickname for you.
Thank you so much for the super chat, though.
Yeah,
very
I didn't hit the banks.
Yeah, okay, I like this flat bottom break on Google. So it does have all the trappings of a flat bottom break. We are down on the day, because it's a continuation pattern. We also had a bit, maybe you could even argue, bear flag. Because we had that massive move down at 930, a little bit of consolidation with this very flat bottom of 136, lower high, lower high, lower high, swoop to the downside. If we reject off that 136, that could be an interesting area for a short, because as we know, support can and often does become resistance. Right now, I'm trying to watch and see if that happens for Meta, because Meta's getting into that area. But yeah, for Google, I think very much a bear flag kind of breakdown. Lots of news as well with Google and this AI stuff. Sundar Pichai, CEO, releasing a note to employees yesterday saying that he was disappointed with the biases in that AI image generator of people for the Gemini, basically saying that, they are going to work, hopefully, in fixing it within the next couple of weeks. And this was actually confirmed by a Google spokesperson.
And I got to tell you, I used it personally. And there are a lot of commentators that I follow on the internet. And I like what they have to say. And these people, I'm not going to mention who they are because I don't want to do that, but they were blacklisted by Gemini. When I asked Gemini, I'm like, what do you think about such and such a person? They're like, oh, this person has extreme views and yada, 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 and I'm not going to quote them for you. And then, yeah, so basically the idea there was that I saw this post on the internet that someone said, write me a poem in the style of such and such a person. And then and it wouldn't do that for them, right?
Really?
Because it blacklisted that individual. And so what I did was I tried to go and ask Gemini to just give me information, not write me a poem on that. And Gemini was just absolute, that's nonsensical. If we're gonna have an exchange of information, we have to have an exchange of all information, not just you know, you like that information, so you make it available, and then whatever you don't like, you kind of exclude. I think that's super nonsensical, and we're not going to get anywhere that way. Anyway, let's have a look at Tesla. I'm going to cover Tesla and Polestar right now. Two EV names. Tesla is absolutely rocketing up, baby. On the news that they are going to release that Roadster next year. And I don't even think that's big news because they're probably not going to sell too many of these things. These are going to be $200,000 plus. What's the market for that? But in any event, it's almost at 205 up and to the right. It gave you an opportunity here at 202.5 to possibly get in. You had initial trouble getting through that 202.5 initially, so that should have given you an idea that it could have been a possible resistance level, and resistance flips to support in some cases, and then it did in this case. If you dipped at 202.5 after it made its way up to 203.75, you were well rewarded because this one made its way almost up into that 205 area, 204.90 something. The other one that we're talking about on the day is what is it? PSNY, Polestar. This was Oleg has been mentioning this both on the midday, on this show and on the morning show. I saw him there in the chat. Polestar is on its way up 29.5% for this name, as the company came out and said that they were going to be able to fix some of the margins. And there was something else news related. Let me pull that up for you guys in a second here. Oh, yeah, they raised money. How important was that? They raised almost $1 billion in cash to help them with their operations and production, and they also see margins improving in this year. I'm not going to belabor the point and read this whole article, but suffice it to say, the market likes what they see. Anyway, topped up here, looks like it got to that $199 area, and then Huadun bracket goes into that 190 area. I really want to watch to see if this one can squeeze more. Let's find out what the short float is on Polestar. PSNY. Shout out to Trade Ideas. Make sure that if you want to be able to have this information, you're using the Trader TV 20 code there to subscribe. 4.81% of the 245 million share float is assigned to shorts. Nothing that big, but we'll continue to watch. I like what I see today from these markets, multiple opportunities.
Yeah, also you got a super chat here from Kyle Burdett.
Big Kyle Burdett. What? Let me look at it.
Yeah, saying, Sharif, and that's why all this AI is scary. I guess just on the Gemini conversation.
Yeah, I know. I'm disappointed with that. And I got to tell you, I personally liked Gemini. I found it to be more human-like in its responses than ChatGPT. That's just my personal opinion. But this is going to have me rethinking the whole thing again. I can't put up with that. That's nonsensical. Go ahead. Also,
could it be because you are a Gemini? Because I know you did like the Gemini for that aspect.
Yeah, but I'm a cuspian, right? I'm on both.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Okay. But it's all good.
Yeah, no, also, so I did get into that Meta trade. I think I might have already been in it last time I talked. But yeah, I will have to say, I did feel very emboldened by how we rejected that 486.50 area I was eyeing. 485.50, what am I saying? We get up there, back to the downside. Dang. I am really, as I say that, we're back up. So come on, Meta, come on, man. We're going to have to see how this goes. I am also kind of concerned that we might actually be seeing a bit of a dip here and then back into higher highs. And I also say that because the area that we kind of bottomed out here on this candle is the same kind of resistance we were seeing earlier, very early in the pre-market. So it could be resistance becoming support. That being said, the more times we fail this 485.50 area, the more times I'm like, you know what, Adara, we haven't gotten to your area of exit yet. Stay patient. As you say, pack the patience. And I think that's what I need to do in Meta until it gives me a reason to say sayonara or to slide out of its DMs. Also, there was something here I wanted to see. There's something in the chat that I wanted to. Oh, yeah, Elon saying, hi, morning, good morning. Most traders may choose similar reference points for fib analysis, a self-fulfilling prophecy for traders to take similar action at certain price levels. Yeah, and I think that's one thing too, right? That's why it's always nice to kind of have confirmation as well, right? Because I think too, one of the things I noticed is because when I was doing the notes here, is because there are so many levels, some people will, you're not really sure what level to kind of make your price action based on. So I think that's really important to note as well. Sharif looking excited here, but also, Nick W mentioning VKTX, and you are right, it certainly is ripping. I was involved in this one earlier when there was a range. No range for me right now, so I was not going to be getting involved, but I think if we can break above that 90, I can't believe I'm saying 97 top.
Wow.
If we can break above that 97.35 top, I think that could be a very interesting move here to the upside. Overall, pretty much with the exception of that big move down and right off the open. Lower highs, higher lows. Nice look here indeed. The other stock I'm looking at right now, but I don't really have my point of entry at this moment, is Microsoft. I like that we're kind of seeing, again, lower highs, higher lows, higher highs. So I think that's a pretty much look. Yeah, Nathan, I've actually not had that much coffee. I am just full of natural energy.
Yeah, this is just how she is most of the time. She's just naturally energetic. Shout out to Adair, man.
And just sipping a tea as well, but it's not caffeinated.
What's up, Katina, man? The energy, well, yeah, exactly. It's the pot and the kettle, baby. But yeah, look, in a good way, obviously.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah, thank you.
I wanted to mention this Vanny again, because we did get a bit of a hold here at that level. Now we're getting the rejection off 4. And the reason I keep looking at this is because this is when I started watching Vanny at the big desk around 8:30 or so, give or take that area, and it was having trouble with 375. We got a perfunctory bounce there off the level through 4, but we rejected 4. We're below VWAP, so unless this one really breaks and holds above 4 and then shows me that it's going to reclaim VWAP awfully quickly, nah, that's it. We're not going to break our rules for this one. The other one, big Kyle Burdett was like, look, man, Tesla's getting back into that level from yesterday. To me, this is a short here. Look, Kyle, I mean, I know you kill it with the shorts. I'm just not going to stand in front of this monster. And with the amount of options activity that I know takes place behind the scenes with Tesla, I don't want to catch it on a squeeze. Right now, it's knocking the door of 205. The tape is moving a lot quicker as, you know, we get into that key area where everyone's watching, a lot of positions coming in. There's some decent size here, nothing too big at the 205 whole dollar level. Now it's a little bit far removed, so we can't see the entire size. But Tesla, to me, right now, looking awfully good. The strongest, hands down, of the Mag 7 names. Not even a question there. The only other 2 Mag 7 names that are even green is Softy up 0.06 and Amazon at 0.03, for all intents and purposes flat at this level. So I'm definitely going to keep eyes here. I need to have eyes all day on Tesla, even if that means taking it short. If this 205 rejects, I will gladly jump on that short with you, big Kyle Burdett. So we're going to keep an eye, see exactly what happens here at 205 and whether or not we hold at 205. And the other thing we have to talk about is the future, because we gave up the ghost on 18 overnight, even though yesterday we closed out at 18.021 on the NQ March contract. And right now we're at 17,959. So we're possibly here on the way up into 18,000. So I need to be prepared as to what my plan is going to be once we get to that 100-point level. Am I going to be looking to short here? I'm obviously going to be looking at the wick shimmy dance with respect to that 100-point level, but I just want to mention the future definitely in play, especially if we make our way up into that 1,000-point level again. Sorry, that 18,000-point level again. All right, there goes Tesla through 205. So the size at 205 meant nothing, and there it goes again into the $0.25 level. Tesla on one today, baby, and it is on the way up, Adair.
Yeah, some people saying that the position board isn't where. Are you in Tesla?
I'm not in position.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I was confused because there was some. I think I like that you're just getting excited about all the stocks moving. Because I know sometimes here when I see like hear the pump and I'm like, oh, is he in the stock? But yeah, no.
Yeah,
so the position board is or not like right now, but yes, the position board is working. I'm in Meta short 485.09, and though I am a little bit nervous, I have no reason to leave because we still cannot eclipse that 485.50, 485.60 area, and every time we do, we get a mallet back to the downside. So getting a little bit dicey, but it's certainly still within my parameters, which is why I am staying, because patience is a virtue that I tend to lack just as gauche. So that's why I'm trying to practice that by staying in here. But yeah, so that's just the update for the position board. It is all good there. Shout out to Fabian, Ramin, and everybody in the production, killing it with our second stream, more Trader TV Live, and our position board. Also, top BOIP, Adair and Sharif, please look at SQ. Looks ready for gap fill.
Ooh.
And I totally can look at SQ for you. Let's see if there's anything blocking square here from this gap fill. Ooh, I like this. So we had a skosh of a double top at that 79.20 area. Then we have a little lower dip here off that 9 EMA, and I love looking for dips off the 9 EMA. I talk about this a lot. Of course, not everything's always going to be like a perfect indicator, but I think it's one thing I definitely watch for sometimes. If there's other things working in confluence as well, shout out to our pal Obi, who's killing it at the big desk with Sean today. But yeah, nice move back up here into that almost 80 area. Let me look for that gap fill. I'm going to look at the daily chart. Oh, I see what you, okay. Yeah, I see. I think honestly what's a little bit more interesting to me for this SQ is look at this kind of top performing around 80. With the exception of that wick here that we had in earnings, I think that 80 has been a really interesting area. So we have this honestly gorgeous move up from during that November to remember, as Sharif coined it, all the way, honestly, 2 months basically of almost a complete upside. Then we get a bit of a move down, curl a little bit back to the upside, and a nice spike here. But yeah, we're having a really hard time decisively breaking that 80 area. Then we get a bit of a lower dip here into that 74, February 26th. Now we're curling back up. So I think, honestly, for me, I think maybe more interesting on the daily break, or sorry, on the daily chart, is going to be that decisive break above that 80 area, because we've spent some time trying to knock on the door of that one. So I think to me that's a bit of more of an interesting look. That Meta, though, curling back up, so I may have to exit from Meta before I get lost in the move of that. But yeah, I think that SQ, to me, the most interesting aspect is that 80 top.
I felt you were looking for a pun there.
I was, yeah, you could tell. He knows me so well now. You can always tell if I'm searching for a pun, or if he says something and then he's like, oh, Adair's probably going to want to write about that. Like, yeah,
hey,
yeah, he's always noticing the vibes there. But yeah, so shout out to you. How are you doing?
Looking at VKTX, thank you for bringing that on my radar, because we possibly could be doing a bit of a double top right now. The $100 level was, I think, the level traders were probably looking at if you're trading this stock. Look, I mean, we popped up into 99.42. What time was that? 9.43. So right after the open, we're right back at 99. Look at that. We're at 98.04. That dip. So what I mean, I don't want to be shorting this nutty name over here, especially after what it did yesterday. But I want to see what it's going to do at 100, because if we get a possible double top here in that 99 general vicinity, 100 general vicinity, let's keep our options open, so to speak. So VKTX, really interesting name right now, both for the long and the shorts, just given where it's at. So I don't feel inclined to punch in really at the high of the day, because we're awfully close to the high of the day right now. I need this to set up a little bit differently, whether it's a short off the possible double top or whether it's a retracement into a key support level. I'm not going to get into this name now, but it's a fantastic name, up 16% today. Was up, how many percent was this up yesterday? Was it
a lot?
80? Yeah, was it over 100?
I think it got over 100. I don't know if it stayed over 100, but it got over 100, I believe.
Yeah, so this one, absolute monster. Obviously, you need to be careful with that. I want to shout out Big Kyle Burdett as well, because what he was saying on Tesla, I hadn't actually looked at the 5-minute here on TSLA, and this is what Kyle was saying. I'm assuming, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but this is the top that we got into on Tesla yesterday, right at, that was the IB high. Right, so that was a 930 print. We got into 205 and 2/3, and then it was Huadong City after that. We ended up the day at the low of 198. But this is exactly, I think, what he's meaning. And look at Tesla come down from 205 and 1/3. Shout out to you, Kyle. Here comes 204 on TSLA. So even if this doesn't manifest into a full out double top and breaking of the neckline at 198, which I don't think it will, that's still $1 that you could have taken, $1 plus that you could have taken. It's continuing its move down below 204 here on TSLA. Beautiful call out there by Kyle. Going to keep my eye on this one. It's going to continue to possibly give you more opportunities here. Spin the gosh dong money. There we go. We're going to spin the money for you, Kyle. Shout out to you. I hope you took that trade. There, but you also were in an NVIDIA trade earlier, were you not?
I was, yeah.
Okay, can we talk about that? Because NVIDIA is on the way up here.
I know. I wish, honestly, like I said, the reason I took such a small position in this one was because I was going to get my tea, so I didn't want to leave, like, a whole bunch of shares in there. I took a pretty small position, but I was really confident. I'd like to keep that in mind because we had this nice little curl up here. I put a position here. I actually was lucky enough to get basically bottom wick, so I put it at 774.60s. I think when I was getting up to get the tea, we were around 775, so it felt realistic. I had that there with the idea that, if I come back and there's another opportunity, I can add to the position. Alas, that opportunity never came.
That's okay.
But that's okay. So we had this pretty small position, so I'd take everything out at the same time. Thank you so much. Got about $2 in the simulator money here at 776.60s. So I was pretty happy with that trade there for NVDA. Also, I did get into an ARM short, so we'll have to see how I feel about this. I know you know, I think I was brought to this. I know Nick W was saying ARM looked good for a long, which I think certainly it does off that 90 MA. But you know what I noticed as well? The range brain, the range trader in me started working. We have this really nice area of this 134.50 into this 134. So I think if we, you know, I'm going to basically set this right around that 134.50 to get everything out here. This is going to be a super tight range trade, just trying to get back into the swing of things, or the range of things, I guess, because we're not range trading, we're swing, or we're not swing, we're range trading here.
All right.
But yeah, no, I like this range here. After that meta long, which I did get out of, or meta shorts where I did get out of it, did end up curling back to the upside. We had to, you know, every time there's a rough trade, you know, you always look for the next trade, but I always want to make sure that I feel confident and that I, you know, you're not getting discouraged, but you're definitely using the previous experience to make sure that you're 100%. You're feeling pretty good. So that's what's happening with the ARM. I'm giving this about 50 pennies. So if we break above that 135.50 area, that was a pretty interesting area of support and then resistance in the pre-market. That's where I'm going to have to say sayonara. So that's my look there. Also, someone saying I sound a little bit Elizabeth Holmes-ish. My throat is doing a thing right now. I don't normally sound like this. Right now, a little bit, you know, lots of talking over the last couple weekends, but we're all good. We got the tea, and we're ready to spill some tea on these markets. How are you doing over here?
Looking at NVIDIA right now. Look at this. So we just went green on the day now, up 0.12. NVIDIA is squeezing here, and it's going up aggressive. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 green 5-minute candles in a row on NVDA, 788.02 high. So here's what I'm looking at. Possible, someone was saying 791 resistance on NVIDIA. I don't necessarily agree with that. I would say it's more of a 794. Between 794 to 795. I'm just going to base it on yesterday's consolidation top, and that was the high from yesterday. So if we can break through yesterday's high, that would be very bullish, but I would expect some sort of resistance in and around there if it makes its way up there. But NVIDIA on one right now. Does it break through 790? Maybe the $10 level ends up being the resistance point on the day. We've broken through pivots. We've broken through the yesterday close. The first level of resistance on pivots is going to take us up into 796.5. So NVIDIA awfully strong at the moment. Didn't see that coming, quite frankly. It looked like a bit dead money on the day, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I've set up a possible dip trade here on TSLA, but it doesn't look like it's going to get filled. I put it to the high end of this consolidation range. It looks like it came awfully close. I put it at 69s because what's life without Whimsy? And I put 203.80. It came in at 203.81. So it looks like it's going to go without me. The reason I put my order here, this is obviously a consolidation top where we're having trouble breaking through. So if we were going to get some support on the way down on the correction, then I wanted it to be in and around there. But it's never an exact science. And so I was actually thinking 203.50 to put my order. And so I decided to put a little bit higher, 19 pennies higher. Anyway, it's going without me here. It's right back up into 204 and 2/3. So Tesla strong right now as well. Eek, I feel like everything's going without me here, and I'm not able to get into anything, and it's giving me all sorts of FOMO, which I don't like because then I start chasing things. So I'm going to try to cool everything down because I need to make the trades based on reasons, not FOMO. So keeping an eye, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, don't go chasing waterfalls. It's really important.
Go chasing waterfalls.
Into the rivers and the
that you're used to.
Thank you for the crickets there, guys. No, I'm joking. Joking. All love over
Hit
here.
the fill on ourselves.
Yeah, there we go. We deserve that. But yeah, this we should stick to not singing. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
but
I'm not very good. I can't speak for you, but I know I'm not that.
It'll be fun. But yeah, this ARM looking like it decides to not want to be rangy anymore. We're still very well within my area of entry, so I'm staying in this. I also did have a dip buy set on Microsoft, and we just got in another nice little range play that I like. Took a few more shares here so we can do some proper scalping and taking out larger pieces of the position. So we're going to set up our first little piece there to take out. I'm cool just scalping this range up and down into that 9 EMA. Looks like we could be coiling for a break to the upside, which I'd be pleased as punch about, I'm not going to lie, so I will save some shares for that. But mostly just trying to scalp to the top of this 407.80 area, so about 30 cents, just taking in, adding, etc., etc. We'll have to see if this goes the way I think it will, because, you know, these moves are always very dependent on what the market is feeling, and the market really doesn't care about how you're feeling. No. But yeah, I think this is kind of what I have going on right now. My ARM range trade, which is still waiting to bake, and Microsoft, which is pretty much exactly where I got in because I just got in here. Also, TX Trader, I like this, and I want to take a look at this here. NVIDIA and AMD, both possible bull flag breakouts off daily chart. So let me look at the daily for NVDA and AMD. Also, as I pull this up, I like this comment here from Insurance Casino. What a name here. NVDA is a poem of wealth and happiness.
Oh.
Yeah, a little bit there.
I wonder if they made money on that.
They could, that would, yeah.
I would hope so.
Also, oh, pardon?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, I see what you mean, kind of this NVIDIA, I said NVDA and NVIDIA at the same time there. We had this big breakout, though a lot of this was that earnings gap up here, and now we're kind of chopping and churning. Yeah, it could be a bit of a flag, but again, it's participate, don't anticipate. We're gonna have to wait and see what price action and movement we actually get on that. But I do see what you're seeing. AMD actually more interesting to me though of the two. I got excited there, as you can tell I sat up. So I do see what you're seeing with that big pull up into that 180 area. And Sean's been talking about the 180 and AMD, I hear, over the last couple days and weeks, I guess, as well. But then we kind of pull in, and we're definitely having some issues. We're knocking on the door, shout out to Sharif, at that 180. So I do think I think they're both good looks, TX Trader, but I think to me the AMD is just a little bit juicier because we've had some more chop and churn. NVIDIA earnings were actually less than a week ago. They will be a week as of this evening. So I think AMD, we've had a little bit more time to build this tug of war at that 180 to 165. I honestly think if this breaks out, this could be quite a juicy look. But again, we can't say that until we actually see that push above raising the roof at that 180. And
raise the roof.
So that's my look. But yeah, so I think I don't have much to report here. ARM basically at my point of entry. Microsoft slightly above my point of entry, and that's a long, so that's a good thing there. Yeah, I don't have much going on here right now beyond those two trades that I am in. Amazon actually breaking out quite nicely. Let me go to the 5-minute on this, because I usually do trade off the 5-minute. But yeah, we had that flattish top, or that flat area around 173.50, which is where I get out of the short exactly as planned. No issues here, continuing to compress and break up to the high side. Congrats to anybody in this Amazon long, and shout out to Obi, who may or may not be trading Amazon. I honestly say that, I'm not saying that, I
didn't
really
actually
don't know.
see him in Amazon today.
I didn't either, that's why I said it.
Google and IBIT,
yeah.
right? IBIT, yeah. New small cap gapper du jour. It goes by the ticker VT. It is a halter. It is awfully volatile, and it's up over 100%, Ram, as it's at 110% right now. This bad boy got up into $22.83. I'm sorry I'm coming a little bit late to this one, but I've so much information here to cover. It's halted, let's see, 3 times. 2 to the upside, 1 to the downside. Right now, it broke down. So this is the halt level that I was looking at initially for that support area to hold up, 17.5. I usually chart these halt levels as possible areas of both support and resistance on these small cap gappers. But VT, it's called VTV Therapeutics. The float, wow. 704,000 shares, minuscule, modicum. I don't know how many other words can I use here. Let's find out what the short float is on it. Okay, larger for a float of 600 some odd thousand shares, according to Trade Ideas. Trade Ideas saying 631,000 shares, and 10 2/3% of this float is shorted right now on VT. So this one could absolutely squeeze up. It is tradable in my books. It is above the pre-market high. It is above VWAP. VWAP on my chart is at 15 3/4. We're trading at 17 3/4, 18 1/3, in and around that area. But obviously, you know, the spread is insane on it. It's 88 pennies at the moment, now 40 pennies. That's number one. Number two, it's awfully volatile. It's moving 50 pennies at a time here, so it's hard to manage risk. That means you either don't trade it or you trade it with very small size. And if you're going to use stops on this, make sure to either use a market stop or a wide range between your stop price and your limit price if you're using stop limit orders, as this will blow through your stop and will not trigger, and you're going to find yourself well out of the money on something that you didn't plan. So make sure you're using sound risk management strategies on VT now, continuing to pump up here, baby. It's been small cap season going on several weeks now. I feel like ever since Holo.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the initiator kind of thing?
It was. And Holo tried to get a pop on volume today, too, while I was at the big desk, so.
And it moved yesterday, too. I do remember Holo moving a little bit yesterday. So, all right. I'm just reading something in the chat there. All right, so that's the look there on VTVT. Nothing more to report there. NVIDIA kind of putting a bit of a consolidation move here between that 788 and that 789 after that big move up off that low that we were at. 771.25 is technically the low on the day today on NVDA. Big Kyle Burdett also asking me about Apple flat bottom break 181, to which I responded, well, Apple ended up holding 180 yesterday, and we had that trade live, and it actually came to you right at the end of our show. The big kahunas ended up taking that over yesterday, but Apple moved $3 off that 180 bottom that we had yesterday towards the close there. So I don't know, man. I'm not really setting up for an Apple flat bottom break. If it wants to break 181 decisively, absolutely, we'll take that down into that 180 area as well. Let's talk about Meta, though, because you saw Adara in Meta earlier, and that was a wicked trade.
It was not, but thank you.
Oh, you weren't
It was
long?
the NVIDIA. I was in it, but it was not a good trade.
Oh, my mistake. Sorry about that.
It's okay. No, I thought I may as well be honest there, but yeah, thank you.
Oh, it's all good. I didn't notice. I forgot that you were short.
Okay, so
here's what I'm looking at on META. So bouncing off pivot points like a dang glove. So love that. And now it's coming into yesterday's close, 487. Well, 487... Hi, Ram. 487 and VWAP are the exact same level right now on my chart. So some possible resistance coming in here on Meta. We'll have to wait and see if this ends up standing in Meta's way, but obviously a 491 that we could look to here as a possible target. That was the high of the day, 491.05. But Meta looking awfully good here. A V-shaped retracement possibly in play. We may have to get in Meta here, man, because if Meta starts V-shaping, well, we know what Meta can do on a day basis, and it showed you what it can do in the past. But I'm just concerned about this VWAP and yesterday's close right now, putting a damper in that move up on META. So we're going to continue to watch. I saw some other people say Amazon pumping. Yes, Amazon just awoke. The Amazonian is awake again, and it's now green on the day, breaking through 173.50. That's where it closed out. Broke through pivots as well at that 173 3/4. Now it's on its way possibly into 174. I would keep an eye out for yesterday's top at around 174 3/4 here on the Amazonian. So we'll see what that one brings. Yeah, that's basically it for me. Can we just check small cappers here real quick? Not much happening here in small cap world. VKTX, though, still doing the dance there with near 100 bucks. We were possibly looking for a double top on this name over here because, well, it looks double topish.
Yeah.
But I would personally wait until that $90 area broke before I would say, okay, the double top is confirmed. And that's like $7.50 from where we're trading, but that's the pattern. Nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, that VKTX scares me a little bit. Honestly, it's just not my type of trade, but congrats to anybody who was killing it in that. I was briefly in that trade and had a small heart attack when I realized my order was placed there in VKTX yesterday, but the trade went well, just part of my journey to kind of try and trade new things.
Nice.
I want to address that ARM trade. So basically, yeah, this didn't work, but I'm proud of myself because I got out the second we got into my area of interest. So I think once I noticed we were kind of creeping towards that 135.50, got out at 135.35, pleased as punch. It was a losing trade, but it was really just about honoring my risk management principles. Good. So I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of there, I'd like to say. Also, I do stand by my reason to enter as well, in that we did kind of have this really nice area of resistance becoming support at that 134.50, which coincided there with that 9 EMA. Also, thank you very much to Ramin. Oops, sorry, I was mesmerized by Adara. Thank you. Yeah, no, and shout out as always to Ramin and Fabian, who are always killing it. They have so much to do, and they are always giving 110%.
Yes.
As is everybody here.
Yeah.
But yes, a really good community. Also, you know what would be really, really good here as well is if Microsoft would let me add to my position here. I don't know why I said Microsoft in that way. But yeah, I basically like this kind of curl to the upside. Took out part of the position exactly where I planned to at that 407.80 area. And the plan was to kind of add a little bit in to that 9 EMA. I was 1 penny short of getting filled here, but it looks like we're coming back into my potential area of interest. I might have set this a little bit too low. I said I'd just blow that 407.50 because I didn't want to have to like DCA down. I wanted to, if anything, get my price a little bit better by like 1 cent should I get added to it. But I think this is, you know, a decent look here should it get added. We're continuing to hold up this 9 EMA. If we break below into that 407 kind of 20 area, if we break decisively out of this range, I'm going to have to leave. But right now, the range has been holding up for a while, and I have no problem kind of adding and taking from this position as we climb to the upside here on this Microsoft look. Also, Kashif saying, Adara Sharif, Tesla short 204, question mark? And yeah, that is a question that we would like to answer if we can.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is interesting to me. I don't want it, for one, I want to say for a couple of reasons, you know, not advice, just my take on the chart, and also Tesla will do what Tesla does. So like very much keep that in mind with any analysis I'm about to give. That being said, I see what something at 204. And I'll explain what I am seeing. So we have this move down here. We have this sort of bottom as well here at that 204 that you identified. We're seeing slightly lower highs. And also that 205 on the daily chart, as Sharif very astutely identified a couple days ago, has been a really interesting area of resistance, right? So let me switch to the daily to kind of show you what I mean. Or what Sharif pointed out that I thought was interesting as well, because I do want to give Sharif full credit for pointing out that 205 area. Look at this. Now, the one thing, too, to keep in mind is we do actually have slightly higher lows there as well, so it could be 205 pushing back up here. But we had 205. It's sort of also kind of an interesting area around that gap where we had near earnings, so that could be playing into this as well. But I think that 205 rejection that we had today, in tandem with the 205 rejection we had in the daily at least once, and then yesterday pulling back from the 205 as well, I think this could get really interesting. Henry Chung saying, I learned that about Tesla the hard way, haha. Or hard way many times, sorry. Yeah, no, Tesla, whatever pattern you see, definitely look for more confirmation. That being said, Kashif, I'm going to echo what you're saying about 204. I think if 204 breaks, it could be a good look, but I would definitely probably set a very tight kind of stop here and be very cautious in this Tesla short. Also, there's something else I was seeing here. Yeah, top VOIP. Can you tell me what DCA means? Yeah, so it's dollar cost averaging. So it's basically, usually we say it's best to do these when planned if you are going to do them, but it's basically the idea of adding into the position at a different level from where you entered. So in the case of Microsoft, which actually is getting slightly dicey here, but still kind of within my area of interest. So basically, I got into the position here at this 407.52, right? With the plan to, after I got out here, to add a little bit if we come back into this level. So that means basically if I got a better dollar cost average, so if I got it at a better price, which I did here, then we DCA down. So my dollar cost average here went from 407.52, which is where I initially entered, to 407.50. So we got a better price for the long. Now, if I added instead at 407.60, I would actually be getting a worse dollar cost average because it would have been getting in at a higher price. I hope that makes sense. Also, I like the little pun there. Now it makes sense. Also, Nick W mentioning Moderna as a long, which I'll pull up here, flagging an intraday 3-minute and bounced off support at 97.40. Okay. I like this. I think the lower highs a little bit could get interesting. I see what you're saying with the long, but I do want to clarify as well. I think that these lower highs could get a little bit dicey with this flat bottom of 96.70, so or 97.60. Because Nick W just mentioning this is a long. I think it could be, but I see what you mean about this massive like move up here. I just think these lower highs could be a little bit interesting. I don't want to say flat bottom break though, because we are up 178 on the day. I think the 5-minute might actually be a better call for this, but we're still seeing lower highs. That being said, I actually kind of like this range of this 97.60 to 98.60.
Even if you don't get another higher high, like so say you get off VWAP at that 97.80, give or take, okay? Yeah. And then you get like a retracement to 98.40, you're still printing on that, right?
Yeah, I think I actually might pull this up. So thank you for pointing that out, Nick W. The other thing that concerns me is that topping tail candle at 10.15. This is a little bit of a dicey look for me. But yeah, that's my take on Moderna. Fair. And I think Microsoft is begging me to turn off the computer and power down. So I'm going to get out of that Microsoft trade. Oh, it just went below my area of interest.
I got you. Okay. All right, guys, having a look here at TSLA, because TSLA is still holding up at 204 for whatever reason. The dips into 204. Look, it's not flying up through 205 or anything, but 204 is holding for the moment as a level of support. But as Adara just astutely pointed out with respect to mRNA, it was putting in lower highs, right? And we know what the lower high sequence with the same flat bottom usually typically means. It means a flat bottom break and some sort of retracement. Now, where retraces to here on TSLA, well, I got VWAP on my chart at 202.50. So absolutely possible. It's also absolutely possible that it doesn't even break 204 or it doesn't break 204 on a closing basis, and that could hold it as a level of support and then back up through 205 we go. It's a bit of a midpoint right now. So if I was to get in at these levels with say 203.90 as my stop, it kind of puts me in the middle here for a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, meaning that I could ride this into 205 where I know resistance is sitting for a 50 penny winner, or I could lose 50 pennies on it. So a bit of, you know, we'll have to wait and see what we get kind of thing. But it's putting in lower highs again, so I'm more inclined to take a short on the break of 204 if that manifests. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put an alert out for that level, and then we'll look to get in there. Okay, VT back to small cappers. This one was just about to halt through the break of 21. It's at 21.22. It's printing 22s here on the tape. It's not changing. Ooh. All right, well, another fake halt there, but it looks like it wanted to halt at that 22 level. It's still doing, it's only printing 22s. There we go. Now it's above 22. So the algo holds this one up until the time for the halt is surpassed, and then it can move it up again. 72 showing up here on the tape. So that is another level we need to be concerned about because that could be the halt level there. So VT continuing to do things, man. Holy cow. Up 153%. There's just no way I can trade this and manage risk.
Yeah, it's dicey.
Yeah, it is super dicey. I just can't manage risk with this thing. And there it goes again. It's continuing to break through. There goes the 22 level. It just printed 2206s. We're seeing some decent size following us up at the 21 1/3. So that's moving up with us. And that's something we talked about when we did that week on level 2. Especially with these small cap gappers, what you want to see is you want to see size following you up, right? Because it's going to be your backstop. It's kind of like I don't want to call it like a lifeline or a parachute or anything like that, but basically what you're looking for is a big buyer to backstop you in case, you know, a big seller comes in and a flush comes in, they can hold it up a bit while you get out, or hold it up entirely because the order might be so big that it stops up there. It's at 21.35. We'll see if that one ends up holding up, but it just did a 22 break here on VT now up 160%. Guys, it's a sub $1 million float, 1 million share float, $1 million float, 1 million share float with a bit of a higher short interest. Here comes 23 on VT now up 102/3% of Dara.
Yeah, I mean, what a look there on that VT. Moving very quickly. What's Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is flying, guys. Sorry to interrupt you. I have to cover this. Bitcoin is through 62.5. It is now up almost 10% on the day. This is the look on BT. This is the daily chart on Bitcoin. Let's go to the 5-minute look here. There it is. Look how strong this thing. We are at highs right now on BTC, 62,560. You've got Mara up almost 10%, and I could not be more pleased because I got some Mara yesterday. Shout out to Big Patty Ice for influencing me into that trade. Anyway, we'll see what we get with Bitcoin here as we get close to all-time highs, guys. 69,000, not that far away. Sorry, Adair.
Yeah, what a look on Bitcoin. I'm just trying to get out here of this this Microsoft. So I did end up staying in when I initially planned on leaving just because we actually had that bounce off that 407.20 I was looking for. Now I'm noticing, though, where the 9 EMA initially was support, now it's seeming to be an area of resistance. So we should be, for some reason, did not get sold there. Now we're continuing to fall. So just a moment here as we extricate ourselves from the Microsoft position. There we go. We're out of this.
Bang.
Yeah, a little bit of a loss here, a little bit down on the day. But again, always looking for new opportunities and trying not to get too discouraged when things go a little bit awry, because that's what trading is. It's as long as you stick to your plan, should be all good things ahead. Also, Roger saying here in the chat, some Fed speakers coming in. Yes, we have Bostic at 12. We have...
yeah, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no worries. We have Bostic at 12. We have Collins at 12:15. And apologies, on the watch list it says 12:15 for Fed Williams. It should be 12:45. I apologize for that, but Williams coming in at 12:45 to close it all off there for the Fed speakers. A lot more later in this week as well. So lots of look here. Lots of look. Lots to look at here. Yeah, I did get out of the Microsoft short, but I do like the idea of this rejection off that 9 EMA. I'm not going to get involved yet, though. I need to see a range develop before I start yapping about that. Couple things to mention that some people were mentioning in the chat. We had We had Stitch Lady mentioning HRL, which is Hormel Foods. This one reporting earnings. I know it's coming in by the time we trade tomorrow. Coming tomorrow before market open. There you go. So Hormel, yeah, I'm a bit late to this comment. I apologize, but you're right. Totally falling off here. Lower highs, lower lows. Nice look to the downside. Volume just below 1 million, so this could get interesting. But I think this double top at 3108. Is an interesting look as well there for HRL. Also, Joanna Brewster talking about a potential NVIDIA reversal. And yeah, my take on this is it certainly looks like it's looking interesting. We had that move up here into that almost 790. We couldn't make 790. We fell back in, a little bit of consolidation here at 786, almost 787 here, then falling back here into the 90 MA. I'm not going to say the 90 MA is a level here unless it proves itself to be a level, and it's really not. NVIDIA is sometimes a bit too powerful for like normal levels. NVIDIA and Tesla, I think, are taking market steroids. I don't know, but they're always like, you know, they're on their own thing. They're lifting weights. They're always very much pumped up to do whatever they would like to do, and they don't really care about our feelings. So it's a nice look there. Hi, Sheree. But yeah, we'll have to see what we do here. I'm not getting involved in NVIDIA. I'm not getting NVIDIA unless I see something I like. I did like this curl here earlier, which is why I got in, but unless I see anything like that again, not getting involved. However, though, shout out to Kashif for putting me onto this Tesla interest potentially breaking down at 204. If we get back into that 204.40, I would actually probably take this short, get out some of it at 204 and save a piece for the dream to the downside. But it looks like we might actually not have that opportunity. It looks like this could be the area at which Tesla decides that it would like to take its roaster from 100 to 0, and by that I mean to the downside in a second. So we're going to have to see on that. That's a shout out to the Roadster, apparently going to be able to go from 0 to 100 kilometers real quick. Shout out to Drake.
Yeah, I know. I know. I saw you in the chat, but like, is that a veiled reference to Drake this morning? I saw that. I liked it. But can you, like, I don't know, man. I can't wrap my mind around a car going 0 to 100 kilometers, miles, or 0-60 miles in less than a second. People were not believing that in the chat. Everyone was like, cap. No, there's no way. Well, he'll have to prove it. He's proved a lot so far, though, so we have to give him that. All right, guys, this 204 level, I don't know what's going on here on TSLA at 204, but every time we dip in there, there seems to be a buyer. But what my eyes are posted on is this sequence of lower highs that it keeps putting in. Right, so 204 holds fantastic, but I'm not going to take it at these levels. If we do, we're going to have to give it at least to the $0.50 here on Tesla. Right now, it's fighting. There's a big tug of war right now happening between bulls and bears at 204. So we'll continue to watch that and see which way it resolves. A little bit this, a little bit of that, and well, we'll see. All right, the other one that's popping off here, IMNN. This one just popped off on volume there through VWAP. Look, this is a dollar stock, guys, okay? So, and the volume, it's been kind of holding below VWAP for the majority of the morning. It had that big move up off that, where did it close? 71 pennies, came up to $1.18. It's trying to hold up a buck. And there's a trade to be had here for the break of a dollar. Neil takes it often. Sometimes I take it as well. We'll have to wait and see if this can hold up above a buck. VWAP on this name is around 99 pennies, high 98 pennies. There we go, $1.10. This is moving with $1.18 high. No closing print, though, on the 5-minute look here, above $1.05. All the price action above $1.05, exclusively wicks. So if this closes above $1.05, that'll be novel on the day, and then maybe we'll have to relook at this. But it's just super choppy in the way that it's trading, but this one can give you a nice parabolic move. Now let's have a look. Is it a former runner? Because that's an important thing to know as well. Is this bad boy a former one, like a former small cap gapper that started moving on the day? Well, it looks like it came to market in mid or to late 2022, and it's not really a former runner. It has a couple of outlying days here. It had a good day yesterday, so this is not a first day play. The first day play in terms of volume is today with 2 million shares, but this one popped off from 58 pennies and ended up closing at the high yesterday at 80 pennies. So it's not a first day play, but first day that it's showing up on my chart because of the fact that it was sub 85 pennies, and that's where I draw the line on my scanner. Anything below 85 pennies I weed out, and then the reason I chose 85 pennies, kind of want to know about the potential $1 breaks. That was an idea given to me by Neil. So shout out to him with a day off today, lucky guy. Which means, by the way, no real deal with Neil.
I just realized that,
what's it called again? The daily lesson?
Neil's lesson of the day.
Neil's lesson of the day today with Neil because, well, he ain't here. So, all right, Tesla broke Tesla broke down below 204. Here comes 203.50. Somebody's short there. We're going to spin the money for her. Shout out to you, Adair. Good trade. Tell us about it.
Thank you so much. I would love to. I took a really small position here, so that's the one thing I'm a little cheesed about. As Sharif says, as a trader, you will always be mad.
Yeah.
And that's something I've certainly learned to keep in mind. So I got short 204.20s, as you can see here. Basically, what I was thinking was I'll take a small position at 204.20s. Then if we get back into 204.40 and fail, then you can add, right? We never had that opportunity. Tesla said, buy, flew to the downside. This 203.50 area, a little bit of support, so this might be getting a little dicey. I have a pretty small position though, so I don't want to take everything out here, you know what I mean? I'm saving basically for that just above 203, because that was where, my chart's being a little dicey here, but that was where, as you can kind of see here, we had a little bit of chop and churn, so if we can get to that 203.10, then that would be a little bit more than $1 winner here in the sim. Please just punch with this trade. Really just, again, trying to, as Sean says, a scared trader is a deficient trader.
Bang.
And so I really just wanted to take advantage of this movement that I saw and see if this happens. And again, shout out to Kashif in the chat who pointed this one out to me. And, you know, not everything we get to see is always going to work, right? But you absolutely called it. And so I had it on my radar for that reason. Nice move. Congrats to anybody involved in this name. To the upside earlier or to the downside now, because there have been ample opportunities in either the long or the short side. If you're with the bears or with the bulls, you're going to have a nice time here in this Tesla. Although this 203.50, my scalpulation senses are tickling, so I would like it to get below there a little bit earlier before I punch out of this too early. But also, there was something I wanted to say here as well.
Tell me,
yeah, Tesla's trying to come back here, so yikes. But, Paul Molnar saying, can you look at coin, please? Yes, we can look at coin.
That's nice of them to ask so nicely.
Yes, thank you. Okay, hi, coin. Yeah, coin's certainly not really basing out here, I'll put it that way. Going to try to get a double top here at that 211.50. I'd like to see what we do at 211.50. And actually, you know what? Maybe more of a triple top. We had this here earlier, we touched it. Then we come back to touch it again here at this 830 area. Come back once again here trying to get into this at 1210. So I think this could be an interesting look. Lower high, lower high, lower high. I like Coinbase here. Like I said, though, I always have a really hard time feeling confident in my analyses of crypto adjacent charts because crypto is you know very much at the mercy of Bitcoin, mother Bitcoin, as Obi says, mother market. I think these cryptocurrency related stocks really do listen to mother Bitcoin. Right now they've been cryptocurrencies, they're ripping to the upside, but that can always change, so I would be really cautious of that. That being said, I think this 211.50 area could get a little spicy, a little salt bay for Coinbase. Also, on that topic, Garrett's Invest Co. 199 super chat. Thank you very, very much. Kathy Wood says BTC will be the number one world currency. Yeah, I know. Kathy Wood definitely has a lot of thoughts there on BTC. Let's pull up the BTC chart on my trading view. Give me a moment here. Also, good Tesla continuing to fall a little bit. Oh, you're in on this too?
Yeah, I know. I was trying to catch this bottom right, this consolidation area here, but if it breaks down anymore, I'm going to flatten out this trade. I'm looking for it to hold that 203.50. If it doesn't, we're going to get out super quick. But I'm just going to hold on to this trade, and I'll send it to you for a sec.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I just saw that and was like, ooh. I totally see what you're saying there. I'm getting a little bit sketched out by this move down in Tesla.
Looks like it's on the way down, yeah.
Totally understand. Oh my gosh, Kate, here's the Bitcoin chart. Almost 63,000, and 69,000 is that's kind of the record, right? That's the all-time high. So nice look here. We had that consolidation for some time at 52,000, and once we broke above that, Bitcoin said, I will not be dealing with that again. No, 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 no. Continuing to fly to the high side. 1, 2, 3 days of massive gains. From Monday to today, we went from a bottom here of 51.70, so almost 52,000 to almost 63,000. Congrats to anybody in this name and all these other cryptocurrencies pumping up as well, reacting with Bitcoin here. So fabulous look, marvelous look. Tesla still doing its thing, 21, nothing to report here. I know you and I are in equally stressful situations with Tesla in different directions, because to call Tesla indecisive right now might actually be a little bit charitable. It's certainly flying around with a viciousness. But yeah, this Bitcoin is a really good look, and congrats to anybody involved in Bitcoin. My thing with crypto stocks, though, does remain that I find them a little bit hard to read. Although Coinbase did reject off that 211.50, so that's kind of an interesting level there. Indeed, I have to say. Google, terrible stock, says Cameroon. Yeah, I mean, let's look at what Google's doing today. I know it's to the downside. Okay. You getting rangy, Google? I like this pseudo 136.30 area here as we had this a little bit of support here, then coming back in, rejecting again here around 11.35 after a bit of consolidation, falling with a vicious at 11.45. So I think that's certainly an interesting look here on Google, as Obi says. And that, I know some people are like, oh, it's Google. It's because it's GOOGL
exactly.
versus a GOOG ticker. And as someone who actually once, and this is a true story, was in a trade in GOOGL, I was like, oh, let's see how the trade's doing. I pull up the GOOG chart by mistake. This is pretty early in my trading journey. And I freaked out. I was like, where's my position? I thought I was in this stock. So as strange as it may sound, it can happen. Maybe it's only a me problem, but it's happened. And so, yeah, that's why GOOGL. Although we have slightly higher lows, though, here. I will say that's the one thing I'm noticing. We went from a low of this 135.70 to a low of 135.90. So that's kind of marginally lower, but interesting look here. Also, I'm out of the Cybertruck, out of the Roadster, whatever
nice
Tesla
trade,
vehicle you have. Thank you so much.
Out on that. We're long Meta right now, though, about 40 pennies in the money. We took that 487 hold, looking for Meta to continue to curl up. It just went green on the day, just cleared VWAP, but not by all that much, guys. I mean, we're talking 50 pennies here on a $400 name, so we're definitely looking for more, looking for that 488 touch. And then the first resistance level for me on pivots is around 488.89, so we'll see what we get there. Moving up nice into that 487 and 2/3. Let's see if we can get that move up into 488. Let's see what people are saying here in the chat while this bad boy continues to do its thing. Dan Emmons been holding Bitcoin for years. Shout out to you. Happy for you printing on that. Kyle Burdett, Tesla Dream Piece printing still. NVIDIA re-entry at 70.90 doing good. Nice, good for you, Kyle. Keep your eye out on that pivot point on my chart, 784, 785 on NVDA. It looks like putting in some bottoming tail candles on that. Looks like might be support. Just in time, how's the Doge XD doing so far today? Adair Sharif, I have no idea. I don't follow Doge. The only one that I follow is Bitcoin, and it is on the way up, guys. 63,532. What a move up for BTC here, but the one that I'm in at the moment is Meta, doing nicely on this name, about 60 pennies in the money or so, looking for that move into 488 after losing on TSLA. Sucks to be me, but here's the thing, 181 just came in again here on AAPL, and we saw what happened both times. It came into that general 181 area, so this might be an interesting trade to defend that 181 level. Again, it did break down technically below 181 to 180.91. So we'll see if this one can hold that 181, and then we'll get maybe a curl. It definitely held 180 yesterday. So we'll see if that ends up happening again, but it looks like NVDA putting in the bottom here, Adair.
Yeah, no, I think that's certainly, congrats on that Meta trade, nice look.
Thank you.
And sorry about that Tesla. I do see, though, I totally see what you were saying on that, because when it got there, I was like, should I get out of this, right?
Happens,
so Tesla, yeah, I mean, we call it stressless for a reason. It likes to be a little bamboozling.
Exactly, right?
And bamboozle, it has. But yeah, out of that trade, not planning on getting back in unless I see something I like. Right now, I doubt, and again, thank you so much to Kashif in the chat. I love this to print on that. Also, there was some, Moderna. Moderna did actually flat bottom break. I didn't get involved in this just because I wouldn't really have had a good profit-taking opportunity. Like with Tesla, I think it was a bit clearer, at least for me, like just as someone who likes ranges, just kind of finding previous areas of resistance and support to get out here. Also, I had a smaller position. But yeah, with that Moderna, I think that move down was pretty swift, but I didn't get involved because I didn't really have a range to play off of as well there. Also, I pulled up Apple, and I think this is really interesting. We had this chop and churn here. This is I saw this range earlier. This 180.160 area. Look at this rejection off VWAP. We have this tail coming into above VWAP, and then sellers saying, right, no, smacking the hand away from the cookie jar. Then Apple comes and breaks that defined bottom of 181.10, continuing to the downside. So nice look here to this look. So nice. I keep saying look in places I should not be saying look. Nice look here in Apple, continuing to take a bite to the downside there. Sellers taking the bite out of this name as we're down about 1%. Ming-Chi Kuo, noted Apple analyst, coming out here again today and saying that through his supply chain, because he's really into the whole supply chain thing, he was kind of like, yeah, like it's getting a little dicey for demand from what he's seeing.
And Dan Ives said the exact opposite today, though. Dan Ives came out with a maintain. There we go on Meta, baby. Boom. Through into that 488 level. Please just punch with this. Yeah, Dan Ives said the exact opposite today. I mean, we know Dan Ives, though, is a bit of a Tesla bull. I'm sorry, Tesla bull.
He's Apple a Tesla bull, too.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? He is a bit of a, what's it called?
Equal opportunity mega 7.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Wedbush reiterated their $250 price target today on Apple. So everybody's saying different things. I'm just trying to find it here. This is that Minchi guy was the guy that mentioned
that was that other guy.
He was the guy that mentioned their supply chain. No, the weak iPhone 15 demand.
Yeah,
that was him.
Yeah,
okay,
he's the Apple man.
Got it. I'm pleased as punch about this trade here on META. 487 dip, 487.90 out, so 90 penny winner. We can't hit the dollar club because technically we didn't get a dollar on META, but pleased as punch about this one. This one continuing to go to the high side.
No, Bitcoin to 64.
I know. We've been yelling about it the entire time.
Oh my God.
The Katina man just came back and found out that we just touched almost 64,000 on Bitstonk. We did touch 64,097.50, the new high of day. Where's Patty Ice? He's not here. All right, that's okay. We're going to get Patty Ice to celebrate with us. Mara is up 11%, Adara, and it reports after the bell today. Wow, that's all I can say. Wow, look at Meta. Can I show you this?
Oh my, that was magical.
Unreal, yeah. That was a good out.
You have like timing powers. Remember when you were in EVAX?
Where was that
and it
timing
halts
power?
after you leave? I think, like, I honestly don't know what it is. This is at least the third time I've seen since 2024 where you have had miraculous timing leaving a successful trade right before the trade went.
Just pure luck. Yeah, I got to tell you the truth. Just pure luck on this one. But look at that big move down on META. Let's watch if it holds up here because this is VWAP. And this is the closing print from yesterday. 487.08 is yesterday's close on META. So does it, retrace, come back and hold support? Because that's what we'll be looking for. All right, it is time to restart the lesson, baby, because we're overtime and there's no the lesson of the day with Neil today. So usually we get a bit of a breather and then we come back and we do it. So we'll start here. Let's start the show, baby. All right, talking about Fibonacci retracements all week. All day. We've been talking about market theories all week. We did Dow theory on Monday, and we did Elliott waves yesterday, which included a bit of fibs as well. So Fibonacci retracements, in case you're just joining us for the first time and haven't heard about it, it's a popular tool in technical analysis. It helps you identify potential areas of support and resistance in various markets. It can apply to stonks, it can apply to crypto, it can apply to commodities, even indexes itself, futures contracts, okay? So it is applicable in all those contexts. Just gotta make sure you're using it right. So what are they based on, right? They are based on the Fibonacci sequence. And the Fibonacci sequence essentially is a series of numbers where each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers. So by way of example, we have 0, and then we have 1, and then we have 1 again. And then when you add 1 and 1 together, they make 2. And then when you add 1 and 2 together, they make 3. Adding 2 and 3 together, they make 5. So that's essentially 3 and 5, they make 8, etc. This sequence is found in nature as well as the financial markets, and traders use specific ratios within this specific sequence to predict price movements or to maybe think they're predicting price movements. So how are they used? So first, you have to identify the trend before using it. And the reason is because fibs don't work as well during consolidative markets. They tend to work better during trending markets, whether that trend is to the high side or the low side. So your first order of business is you need to do a thorough analysis on the name that you're trading or the market in general, like the S&P or the NQ, Dow, whatever you want to do, and look and have a look at the wider view to see, is it up and to the right, down and to the right, or just super sideways with zigzags, somewhere in between, like a defined length. So that is your first order of business. Your second order of business is to define the swing points. So what you want to do is you want to identify what you believe is the low and what you believe is the high point on that particular chart, on that particular name, and you're going to draw. Ram, can I show my screen? And you're going to draw basically your fibs from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom. It doesn't really matter. Let's use PanW because that's the one we used before. So let's remove the fibs on here, remove all Fibonacci's, let's go to the daily. And the whole idea here was to basically draw the fib from when the market bottomed in January of 2023 and it started moving up. So just go select your fibs and then you basically draw from the high to the low point over here. I think it hit 380 yesterday, something like that, all right? And then when you do that and you have the high point and the low point defined, what you're gonna get is a series of horizontal lines. And each one of these lines is at a certain percentage, which reflects the Fibonacci sequence, okay? The first line that you need to be aware of as a person who's long-minded, if you're looking long here, is the first retracement level at 76.4%, right? That level I don't use all that much. I use the 1/3, 2/3, and the 50 rather than the quarter and the 3/4. That's just my personal use on fibs. The second one is going to be 61.8. The third is 50%. The fourth is 38.2, and the fifth is 23.6. So let's have a look at PanW. So from January to the highs that we just printed there at 381 and change, look where it retraces down to, right into that 50% mark. And then Nancy Pelosi saw that retrace to 50% fib, and she's like, calls, baby, PanW calls. And then we saw what PanW did after that, bouncing from 260 into about 325, all right? So that is the look there. So you're drawing your fib from the low to the high or from the high to the low if you're looking for the short. And then you're going to get a series of horizontal lines in between, all of which earmark different levels on fibs, okay? And so that is that. So let's go here, drawing using the key Fibonacci ratios, all right? I already mentioned that. And then there's the retracement lines that I mentioned as well. That's fine. And here's an example. You can see that. I think the example that I showed was a little bit better than this one. It was in the wild. This one is just kind of the Australian dollar and the Japanese yen for Forex. Yeah, not something that we really trade on the show. I think the PanW looked a little bit better. There's this one as well, showing a bit more detail. So this is the actual wide shot, and then when you look at the detailed shot there, it retraced into that 1/3 level. So if they said this is the breakout point, and that's the high point, it retraced into 1/3, and then they were getting long there, and it broke through the highs. So what do they tell us? So the theory behind Fibonacci's is that after the strong price movement, the price might retrace back to a certain portion of the move before continuing in the original direction. And that's what basically we're showing here with this PanW, right? So it comes back into 50%, so that's the high, comes back into 50%, then boom, pops right back up, goes into that 3/4 again. So that's the whole theory here, is that you're drawing these lines after a big move so you can kind of gauge where the dip trade is going to be. That's what you're typically using it for, okay? The Fibonacci levels act as potential zones where buyers and sellers might step in. Everything I'm saying here to the long side, equally applicable to the short side, but you're drawing it the other way, okay? And some other really important notes here about fibs is that they have limitations. Like everything else in technical analysis, they have limitations. Some traders argue that the fib levels make it likely that the price will reverse at or near one of these levels. This makes it difficult to know which level to use. Case in point, right here on PanW, how did I know or how did I predict that it was going to come into the 50%? I don't. I have to wait for it to get there, stop there, show me that it's using that area as support and curl back up, or get it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say, before I do. There's no way for me to know it's going to go to 2/3 or 50 or 1/3 or even quarter or 75%. I just don't know what it's going to do. So you're going to have to react and not anticipate when you're using fibs, but have them there, right? So that you can be alive to them if and when they do stop out at a certain level. Really good point. Thank you for putting that in there. And the history is really interesting here. Not something that we talk too much about. It wasn't the Italian guy, sorry, Katina, man. The Fibonacci guy who created it was actually an Indian guy, apparently from between 600 to 800 AD, who created that, and we talked a little bit about that. And some other theories about Fibonacci's, that you can use them with Elliott wave theory and Gartley patterns. Gartley patterns is something we haven't talked on the show about. It's used to help identify reaction highs and lows. That might seem to be very interesting to do a topic on.
Yeah, I was going to look into that.
Yeah. Good call on that. Thank you for putting that in there. And some key points to remember, guys. It's not predictive, right? Fibonacci retracements are not guaranteed to indicate future price movements, but they can offer potential areas of interest for traders. And like everything else in technical analysis, confirmation is key. Other technical indicators or even fundamental analysis should be used to confirm potential areas of support and resistance before relying too heavily on it. It's obviously not perfect, and there is some subjectivity in it where I decide that my 0 point is and where my 100% point is entirely subjective. You may look at the same PAN-W chart and be like, Sharif, bro, why are you selecting January 2023? Where'd you get that random level to base your fibs off? And that's where the problem lies. I choose A, you choose B, Sean chooses C, right? And so that we have an inherent issue with that. But the other argument to that is a seasoned trader or seasoned chart analyst may tend to look at the same area, especially if it's a well-defined area, right? Like a local low that stands out from all the rest, or a local high that stands out from all the rest. So even though the subjectivity is there, a lot of experienced traders may think or may rely on the same level of dare.
Yeah, no, I think that's really interesting, and that's something I even thought about too. I think also I was just thinking, some people were saying you are able to use Fibonacci's in consolidative markets as well, which I wasn't aware of. But one thing that I think could be interesting that maybe makes them...
You can use anything in consolidative markets, but the failure rate increases substantially.
Yeah, no, then that's why I wanted to say, because I was going to say, I think what might make them more interesting in these trending markets is because you're looking for retracements, right? You can't really have pullback or a bit of a recovery move if you don't really have a pattern, right? So I think that's kind of interesting as well.
Yep.
Also, I like live trading with Trader TV Live / probably your meme saying Fettuccine over Fibonacci. You'll have to wait and see. I'm also trying to wait and see here on this NVIDIA short, which has been a nail-biting experience. But, I basically got in. I wish I had a better point of entry here. I'm going to be really honest. But c'est la vie, you get what you get, and you try not to get upset. I can't promise that we don't, but we try. I got in that 784.20 area here because I was noticing, I was watching the tape.
I like
and the chart, thank you. Because we're really look at how long it's been since we've been above that 9 EMA. It's been a mighty long time. If we break above that 785, I'm gonna get out. But we haven't yet. We knocked on that door a couple times and then ran away like, people prank calling or something. So the viciousness with which we ran away from 784 makes, or 785, yeah, makes
Nikki Nine Dooring? Have you ever heard of Nikki Nine Dooring?
Pardon?
What's it called when you knock on someone's door and run away?
I know what you mean.
Ding dong ditch. Okay, so that shows my age because it's called Nikki Nine Dooring, or from my generation. Sorry.
But yeah, so I think that's kind of what I like here for this NVIDIA look right now for the short. Also, Kyle Burdett saying something I wasn't aware of. The 784.20 area, which is actually where I got in, is where the VWAP from yesterday is sitting. Okay, so this. Now I'm getting a little bit more nervous here. The other thing that's making me nervous is NVIDIA has a spread, like out into like a PB&J right now. I don't know, very spread out here on NVIDIA. That does make me a bit nervous indeed, a little bit harder to get in and out when you have a spread in such a way. We are, though, seeing, slightly lower lows here in terms of what I'm seeing on the book. Obviously, the chart with these wicks is a little bit harder to read, but just based on what I'm seeing in the book right now, can't say I'm pleased as punch, but I'm not displeased. I have an order set just to get out right above that 783 and then saving a piece for a dream for not the dream, but a dream, I guess, for that 782.50 area. We'll have to see where this goes. Kyle Burnett, thank you. I appreciate you saying this. Don't get nervous. It can be support or resistance. So we're going to hope it's a little bit of resistance here. I do like that as well in confluence with that resistance we have at that 9 EMA. Let's kind of see how this works. But I'm happy with this short. Like I said, NVIDIA, though, the kind of stock that I find I need to babysit, so I haven't gotten involved in anything else. This Microsoft move to the downside. I tried to go long this a couple times and got out pretty quickly. We did make a little bit of profit in this one jump. Microsoft continuing to the downside, not really something I have a clear look on. But yeah, Amazon continuing to move up here a little bit. Tesla, though, getting kind of rangy. Once we're done with NVIDIA, I kind of like this range in Tesla, 203.20 to 203.80. Pretty tight, but could be an interesting look as well. Right now, though, we're just waiting for NVIDIA to decide what it would like to be when it grows up, and hopefully it decides it would like to be a short, at least until we get to my areas of interest. How are you doing here?
Fantastic. Bitcoin just dropped $4,000 in like 3 seconds.
No, it did not.
Yeah, it did. It hit 64,097, and now it's at 60,000. Here comes 60,000. There goes 60,000. Oh my God, Bitcoin. Yeah, the volatility is real on these names, guys. Now we're looking definitely short here, but there goes Coinbase. Yeah, I don't want to chase this down. This is just not a good idea to chase this. Wow, what a move down. Like, I mean, it's a big move down on Coinbase as well, 211.5 down to 204. But the real deal for me here was what we do at 60,000. We're putting in a bottoming tail candle right now. There's an epic fight happening right now between buyers and sellers at 60,000. There goes again above 60,000 north. Let's bring in the side chart here so you guys can see what BTC is doing. This is the daily, so that's not what we want. We want the 1 minute. And this is what I'm talking about, that 64,097 top. And then Huadunk went the dynamite in 59,000, or even we touched 58,000 there and change, guys. 58.8, now we're above 60,000 again, doing the dance here at that $10,000 level. We'll have to wait and see what we get, but the Coinbase trade here is the one that we could possibly look to. Now, if we hold up at 60,000, it's going to be interesting recovery here on Coinbase, and that's why I'm not really inclined to want to punch in one way or another. I want to see which way it's going to move. Patty, Bitcoin just dropped $4,000 in a second. Yeah, he's watching it. He knows. He calls it the muckery, baby. Eh?
Oh, I know what was said there, yeah.
What's up, Katina Man? The Katina Man is now long Coinbase? He's long IBIT. He's long the BlackRock Coinbase ETR. Sorry, Bitcoin ETF. The Katina Man is long. And there goes Amazon, apparently down or up or what? Down. Down. He's taking it short, baby. Make sure to check out the Katina Man's positions on the other channel, More Trader TV Live, Adara.
Yeah, More Trader TV Live, shout out. We have news there. We have positions there. We have also, Sean will sometimes update his, or frequently update his positions here as well through Sharif and I, or sometimes we'll get to the esteemed honor of reading the sticky note off as well to look at levels. But yeah, shout out to Sean and Obi killing it. And also watch the podcast. Really great time this week. Always a good time, but a lot of good conversations. They did talk about Beyond Meat as well on the podcast. If you want to look at that, in regard to the earnings, you can certainly go back and check that out. Podcast 15.
Up.
So
up. I'm watching Coinbase, Katina Man.
Diamond Base. Diamond Hands time. I heard Coinbase and I said Diamond Base. But yeah, NVIDIA, I got into this short. I will admit I got out a little bit earlier than planned. I got out for about a 99-cent pay per winner. And why I got out was because the spread was just getting so dicey. We got to that 783 because I was trying to get out part of the position at 783, right? We got to 783. 30s and then freaked out and the spread was getting bad, so I just said 783.21, let's get it out. We did. It continued to drop. Shout out to Daryl Flinch saying that he started the short at 786, I believe, so congrats to you. Great look here on NVDA. I'm pretty happy with this here. Bears versus Bulls saying, many saying Coinbase news. Hack maybe?
Yeah, people saying that it got hacked. I can't find it, so I'm not going to... I don't want to say. I
just wanted to address that was being said, but I'm going to see if there's anything else here.
You have anything on the hack?
I don't have anything definitively, but I will, of course, be taking a look because I love finding the news. Right. We always want to make sure we're bringing the right news, right? So
some people saying I can't trade crypto on Robinhood either. Jonathan is saying that. Somebody else, I forget who, said that Coinbase had been hacked and then they weren't able to access their Coinbase. You have Coinbase, don't you?
Don't worry what I have.
Katina, man, help out here, bro.
What?
Want to know if Coinbase got hacked?
The only thing I'm doing is giving Now you want me to investigate Coinbase?
Yes, we do. We would need your help, Katina, man. The Katina, man, I don't know. We'll wait. I don't want to disclose anything over here.
50 cents in the money.
50 cents in the money, baby, on IBIT. Patrick Riley saying something is wrong with Coinbase support is not responding and overwhelmed, and my advanced view doesn't display my holdings. Okay, so we're getting this from lots of people here right now that there is a bit of an issue with Coinbase. So Coinbase might be on the way down, guys. Watch out. Forget about Bitcoin. This is a Coinbase issue here. It just dropped $3 in 1 second and it is really on the way down. It's going to break 202. It's trying to hold up here at 202. Coinbase is tanking on this news. I still don't have anything on my blotter, Adara.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't have anything either, and keeping an eye on this. Yeah, thank you, Bears vs. Bulls, putting that out there. Always appreciate the updates.
Wow.
I just don't have any news on that right now. Also, Volkan Cechek, I'm so sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but thank you very much for your Swedish kroner, or 20 Swedish kroner super chat. Have a look at VKXT. I think it's VKTX because I couldn't find anything on VKXT. And I know VKTX has been running the last couple of days saying, biotech phase 2 approved, laughy face. Thank you so much to you. And yeah, I mean, you and I were both in VKTX yesterday, so we know that name has been such a mover. My 5-minute chart is looking a little funky right now for whatever reason. Right now we are seeing kind of lower highs, but an interesting base here at that 93.50. Let's look on the daily though. And I know this one was a weight loss related name. I love trading those what's it called? Those GLP-1 or weight loss names. Yeah, I mean, honestly, even before we had that massive pop-up, this one was certainly headed to the upside. We had a little bit of a base at that $17 level for some time, but then continuing to start a step to the upside before that massive pop yesterday on that news, which was that they did get approval for their phase 2 venture trial of one of their drugs or their GLP receptor for obesity treatment. So nice look here. Popping back into that, brushing up against 100, but not really exceeding 100 from what I can see, then falling back down here. So really nice look here for VKTX being a Viking and pushing to the upside massively during yesterday's session. So congrats to anyone involved in this. Yeah, thank you very much, Volkan. I think it's a really good look, honestly, is all I have to say here. You and I talked about this one ad nauseum yesterday. Right now, though, it looks like we're trying to see a little bit of a pullback with some of these lower highs.
Yeah, unbelievable. The chat is lighting up here with people talking about they can't see their money, they can't access their money. This is a new Robin Hood moment. Well, yeah, that's what people are saying in the chat, Katina, man. I'm serious. Well, look, I don't have a Coinbase account, so there's no way for me to verify any of this, but I trust what you guys are saying, especially with the amount of people that are actually saying it. So I took a little bit of a short here on Coinbase. We took a 50-penny winner, 201 short, 250 cover there. We had a long on it initially at 205 and got out for 205.50, another 50-penny winner. And thank God I got out of that long because look what it did after that. So anyway, a lot of volatility coming right now in Coinbase, a lot of volatility in Mara, in Bitcoin as well. So Bitcoin is above 60,000. It's trying to hold above 60,000. Ethereum is below 3,300 for the moment by about $10. So keep your eye on crypto as it's presenting us with multiple intraday opportunities here, and who can complain about that, right? Because that's what we long for on the midday. We want volatility when it typically is a little bit less volatile. So keeping my eye firmly planted. I'm going to have Coinbase up on the trading screen. That's not going anywhere. We're going to be watching intently as it may come down into that 200 and what it does at that $100, $200 level, the increments of 100. Is what I meant to say there. It's coming right back down again. So below 202 again, here we go. Just dip below 201.5. The spread is really lighting up here and the tape is moving like crazy as participants are really chiming or getting into this name, whether long or short. We're going to keep an eye on that. Then I hear people saying Apple 180 incoming. You saw what happened yesterday on AAPL at 180. Unlikely to happen in the same way again today because I don't think we're going to get another announcement that they're halting production or they're halting development, not production, on the Apple car. Let me just adjust this one real quick over here. So this is I have to adjust this quick, 180.31. So let's go ahead and do that over here. Allow me a minute, people, sorry. There we go, 180.31, and now we can get rid of that wick, and there we go. So yeah, this 180 defend here is going to be awfully interesting here on AAPL. It is now below support level 1 on pivots. Apple awfully weak. It's a 1.25% to the downside, only outdone by Google, which is now over 2% to the downside. So Apple and Google, the two most read Mag 7 names on the day. So we're gonna put an alert. I already have an alert for that 180.10 level on AAPL there. Also, the other thing we have to talk about is we just got to 17.9 on the future. So that 100-point level, we're going to have to watch to see what we get here. We're going to do the wick shimmy dance. If we do the wick shimmy dance from the top and we defend 900, this may be an interesting long. So I'm not gonna just punch into this here at these levels, guessing whether it's going to go long or short, but it's something to be aware of. So the same way we're looking at Apple 180, we're going to be looking at 17.9 on the future, and the same we're looking at Coinbase 220. Let's find out what Coinbase is doing at that 220 level. Okay, so it's popped up again into 202, so nothing doing there. Apple still at 180 and a third, nothing doing there. So going to be watching quite closely here. This 17.9 looks like we are defending for the moment 17.9. We'll see how long that lasts. The other thing that I want to talk about is TSLA just came into VWAP. So we were looking for a possible area of support on Tesla, strong of the day, owing to that headline with respect to the Roadster. And I like this VWAP area here. Now, look, the institutional level high at 8 a.m., 202 and a quarter. The IB high at the open, 202 and a third. VWAP, 202.50. A lot of possible support for TSLA at that 202.50 or 2 and 2 and change. And right now we're getting a pop up off VWAP into 203. So I'm awfully interested in a long on Tesla at these levels, owing to the fact that we have 3 different levels off which to base support. The institutional prints at 8, the IB high at the open, and VWAP hanging around 202.5.
Yeah, no, that's a good look there in Tesla. I was just looking at that myself. We actually had that pop too with a lot of volume. I'm still looking at Microsoft, but because we're seeing kind of lower highs, lower lows. A little bit of a rounded top here as well, a bit of a frowny face for Microsoft. Yeah, but it looks like it's actually trying to turn that frown upside down, getting a little bit of a pop here at that 406 area. Is Tesla being stressful to you?
No, these wicks are stressful.
They are. The wicks are very stressful on Tesla right now. But yeah, I mean, if Microsoft kind of gives an opportunity for a move down here, I'll take it. Right now, though, I don't want to be guessing because we participate and not anticipate here. Lots of opportunities for little potential dip buys here, I think, or dip sells, I guess, rip sells. SPY trying to pop up here. If we fail this level kind of around VWAP, I'd probably short this. I like this pseudo double top, and I like the fact as well that we haven't really eclipsed that massive institutional pop we had right at 8 there. So this could be an interesting short, just kind of taking this from this area into this bottom of 505.50. I see you were in the Cybertruck Roadster. Nice.
We'll see what we get here. Gonna give this a 202.50.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, yeah. But I think that's a really nice look here. Yeah, I think the SPY, if we continue to fail this 505.80 level that I'm eyeing, I SPY, I guess I walked into that.
With my little eye.
With my little eye, something at 505.80. The one thing though is I'm trying to be less reliant on charts when trading my my ETFs, because I've been in a little bit of IWM as well, putting my hand in that cookie jar just to skosh. But based on the price action here, I'm seeing we are having a hard time with 505.80. I'm seeing that we did have this prolonged move down, and I think we've had, having a hard time here getting back above VWAP. If this continues, I will probably press short. I also like, too, that this area is coming into this earlier area where we had some resistance, not once, but twice. So I think this could be an interesting area. I'm going to punch in. I like it. So we're going to get short here. If we break above into that 505.90 area, kind of above where these wicks are, and we approach VWAP, I'm going to have to cut this short and say goodbye. Roger's saying Adara LeBear. Yeah, I guess a little bit there. Or Abera LePage. I don't know if you want to make it more punish. But yeah, I like, honestly, I do think it makes sense. I'm not trying to find shorts where there aren't any, mind you, but I think there have been some nice, tasty shorts in the market. And I've had some longs as well. We had that initial long off NVIDIA before I even got on here, just kind of quickly dipped in and out of that. So NVIDIA, I'm also still having my eye on because I find the levels in here to be quite enticing. So I got involved in that NVIDIA long when we saw that curl up, took it for about almost $2 paper, then got involved in the short just when I saw that failure off the 9 EMA. If we continue to fail this 9 EMA, which we are testing again, this could be another short opportunity, but the spread in NVIDIA is more extreme than I've seen it in quite some time. And by that, I mean, we're seeing like at 20. Honestly, I saw like a 30 penny spread in NVIDIA at one point. So this is certainly a bit of a dicey look. Try to be cognizant here and not jumping into any trades that don't make sense. But yeah, I see what you mean. I'm not trying to really go long or short where it doesn't make sense to do so. And I'm trying to be cognizant of the short bias that I feel I am developing, if I'm being really honest as well. But I think honestly, like for that SPY move, I just was watching on the tape and we were having a really, really hard time with that 505.80 area. As I say that now, we're kind of getting into more of a fight here, but I don't really want to add into this anymore. I just want to take it out should we get to that 505.50, 505.55, where I see the bottom of this candles here. Hopefully this doesn't end up forming a double bottom. We're going to wait and see what happens here. Let's look at Coinbase again today, because I know Coinbase has been certainly something else. I should probably put that on my side chart. Not anything that I feel comfortable trading, just because this move in Bitcoin in general has been parabolic, to say the least, and very much supercharged. But yeah, Coinbase, that massive fall down here, kind of continuing, trying to make a little bit of a move here, much like, kind of looks similar to SPY in that it seems like it's at a bit of a decision point, but Coinbase moving a little bit more viciously back up into that 204. I don't really have a clear read on this, but let's also look at Mara ahead of its earnings. That one running a bit of a marathon to the downside as well off of that stuff with Robinhood. But Mara is interestingly forming a level that I find, I don't want to repeat myself, but interesting. And by that I mean, I drew this line really poorly, but we bounce off that 935, we bounce off 3160. We come back into 3160 for another bounce. Then we reject off of 3160. Sort of yell there, but I think this is quite an inflection point, both for my voice and for Mara. Let's see what Mara does at 3160. Heading into earnings, I know you are very anxious in anticipation for these earnings. We
bought some Mara, Darren. It's the first time I've ever dipped my toe into the crypto sphere, really? We could call it, yeah. There was a time during the pandemic when Bitcoin was at like 29,000, 30,000, something like that. I actually wanted to buy the coin itself, but alas, it did not happen. That would have been nice. But then I would have had to suffer the consequences down to 16,000 after that, the halving. So it's a volatile asset, no question about that. We're in this Tesla trade. I've got another DCA set up here, Ram at 202.69 with my line in the sand at the break of 50. So I'd like to get a better DCA for this VWAP hold. Again, it's not just VWAP, but it's the IB high here, as well as the institutional prints that came in at 8 a.m. Whatever you may make of those prints that are basically, not forcing me, obviously, but persuading me to stay in this Tesla long. And there we go to the high side on Tesla. Not much. What's up, Katina Man? How's IBIT doing?
Coinbase long 202.
The Katina Man is long Coinbase at 202. So keep your eye on the Katina Man's trades, baby, if you want to know what he is up to on the other channel. It goes by the name of More Trader TV Live, and perfect segue. We're going to do this right now to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. This is our brand new channel. It is a data-only channel. You can get it in HD as well, so you can see all the little deets of the little writing there. Say again, Ram? Link in the description. So in case you're wondering where this is, just look at the video that you're on right now with us. Click the description, and it's in there. Ram and the Chilean Nightmare, undefeated with their production skills. Is that a word? Is that a phrase? Anyway, you'll see the Katina Man's positions on the right. You'll see the Obe, the one, the Kanob on the left over here. Usually it's Neil. You'll see what he's long, what he's short. And somebody's printing $1 in the money somewhere or something. And obviously it's the Katina Man. I saw you hit it. IBIT. He's long 34.52 IBIT, which is the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. He's $1 in the money on that bad boy. And sorry, Katina Man. The prices are wrong again. Look, Mark is the programmer who's been doing this. He's sick. He's off sick. So, we're trying to make that a little bit more accurate. But we're doing well on this Tesla trade right now, Adara, and I'm disappointed a little bit. I got to tell you the truth, because I really wanted that DCA at 202.69, but alas, it was not to be. Let's see what we get here.
Yeah, sometimes trades work out well, and then the market's like, hey, you don't need a DCA. You can believe in yourself. It's like an affirmation being like, Sharif, you don't need this. You already have your 203.03. And I like the repetition of the threes there. Kind of a funky look.
Fair.
Also a funky look is whatever I am doing in the SPY. I got out because we got into that 505.90 area. Then we failed this VWAP a couple times with the viciousness. So I was like, you know what, Adara, let's try to get into this short again. If we get, I'll be honestly, I'm okay scalping this if we get back into that 505.80s area. If we have the decisive break above VWAP, so yes, I'm literally giving this pennies, I am going to be getting out. This is honestly kind of scalpier than I've been in some time, or maybe ever.
Yeah.
But I honestly, if I see something I like, I got to get involved. I'm trying to be more cognizant of that. This might not work out, and I can definitely recognize that, but I waited for a couple failures of this level. And again, not just on our chart level, but also in what we're seeing in the book. I am seeing this difficulty decisively giving up that 506 area. So I'm just gonna be watching this like a tiny hawk, being like, where's the movement, where's the movement? Slightly positive on the day, although I've definitely had some losses, I can tell you that. For sure, it's been a bit of a mixed day, but the NVIDIA and the Tesla, oddly enough, kind of working out for me. So, bit of a strange day when those are your names that you're in the green. But yeah, it's certainly been an interesting market.
You're trading the future. Look at that.
Thank you. Well, it's not the future.
That is the future.
That's true. Yeah, I guess it's the future ETF.
Yeah, but that is the future.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, a lot of people that they like look for my personal account, like on my brokerage. I don't actually. Well, I do now. I have data access for the futures position, but I didn't in the past. And so when I want to trade the future, it was always the Qs and the SPY. You have to pay for that data, and it's very expensive, to be honest with you, the futures data. It's a lot more expensive than equities. Excuse me. So a lot of people may choose to do that. Guys, Meta is on the way up again, and I'm feeling a little silly for having gotten out of this trade a little early here. Hello, computer. There we go. We're right back at that area that I got out of. So I got out of there at 487.90. We're back at 487.80 again. There's a 90 print. Looks like we are on our way up through that high that local high that we put in here. I had top wick on this bad boy earlier, but that may not be the case anymore because I think that that's going to be gone. It's going to break through 488. And if you're looking as to where this one might find trouble in the form of resistance, you can look no further than this 489 area. That's going to be my first look. That is where resistance level 1 on pivots lies. And then above that, you're going to have, obviously, the $90 level. That 490 is going to be an issue. And then if that isn't an issue, you're going to have an issue with that 490.105. That's high a day. That's the IB high on META. So Meta continuing to be strong on the day. It's up only 0.1%. It had that big move up and then the big retracement. But this is what really caught my eye, the fact that it held pivots. And so when we did that week on pivots, what they tell you to do is to have a bias. You're looking right at 9:30. Is the stock above or below pivots? If it's above pivot, you should have a bias to the long. If it's below pivots, you should have a bias to the short. I'm not saying that that's the only way to use it, but that's kind of like one of the main ways. And so what I want to show here, Ram, is that this one was actually above pivots, and when it broke away and went to 491, it came back down and held pivots. So that's what you want to see if you're using pivot points, because you had a bias long to begin with, right? Even though this one didn't really give you too many opportunities, it got $6, $7 there in 3 5-minute candles. So yeah, you would have had to been sitting there with a resting order of sorts or punched in super quick. So Meta continuing to be a great name. We'll continue to watch that. The other one, AAPL, now with a 180.19 low. So that whole move that we did in the afternoon yesterday, that move up on the cancellation of the Apple car, we give back the entire move today on Apple, and I couldn't be happier. I got to tell you the truth. I want this thing to hit 175 and then 165. I want those great prints on this because I'm looking long term on this bad boy. But Apple, if it comes into 180, we'll be looking. What's up, Katina, man?
$3
Somebody's $3 in the money right now on Coinbase, and his first name is Sean.
And his last name is the Katina Man, or Killer Katina, which I know is your new one that you've been using.
You got me there.
Which we always steal and borrow phrases or loan phrases to each other. on this show, as you know. We do have the lesson coming up in probably about 5 to 10 minutes, but for now, we do have some more time to discuss trades. I did get out of that SPY move. Unfortunately, a skosh too early as well, because I would have been able to get that move I wanted into 80s. That's okay, though. Basically, what happened was I saw we actually did reclaim that 506.20, so I got out, lost a couple pennies there. Not a massive loss, just again, a huge thing of me working on my patience and me working on not being skittish in moves. Thank you very much, Bears vs. Bulls, for the support in the chat and just for everything you do, because you're always killing it.
World's greatest moderator.
World's greatest moderator. Move over, Jake Al.
Yeah, take a back seat, bro.
Take a back seat. But yeah, so I am in this Q short now. I guess I decided to go from one future to the next. Why I liked this was because look at where we had that rejection earlier around this area, this 435.43 might have gotten a little bit too early. If we don't curl back above this 9 EMA, I'm happy staying in this. If we do, I'm going to have to get out. I'm setting a profit taker absolutely around this 438.80 because that was where we had that little those twin dips earlier. This could be, actually, I'm realizing this is kind of head and shoulders-y, but that's not why I wanted to get in. I really just like the fact that we had this area of rejection, that we've had these previous rejections off the 9 EMA, though of course, this is something I'm trying to be less reliant on as I go because not everything's gonna hold up 1,000% of the time. As I say that, though, we do have this nice little rejection, so we'll have to see if this continues. And I will be setting my little beak wetter for that 480. Let's do 434.89. I keep saying 480. We're not at 483 on the Qs. That would be a massive plot twist there. Massive move down there. But yeah, so I have my little out scheduled, should we need that there. Just trying to, again, work on trading different names for me and getting some practice in trading these names. And yeah, excited to be short, trading the future now.
The future.
Exciting times.
Love it.
Also, a bit of a double top on Meta, which is interesting. We come to that 487.70. Also, shout out to Sharif for the amazing trade on Meta earlier.
Oh, thank you.
You had that great Meta long. Then we come into that 487.60, again, slightly lower high and reject. This could actually get kind of tasty here for Meta. But Meta's been moving kind of to the beat of its own drum today, so I don't want to be... Also, the other way you could look at this is you could say, hey, flat top and lower high, or high or low, sorry, you know what I mean? So I don't really want to mess with this until I have some more confirmation. Also, Rock Doc asking us about Lunar.
Oh.
Which is intuitive something? Intuitive machines. Here we are. Yeah, Lunar, triple top. Is this on the daily? Yeah, I think what I'm seeing in the 5 minute is certainly a curl up, I have to say. Higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, high, higher, high, higher, high. Tongue twister trying to say that one. Yeah, I think we're certainly kind of pushing up towards that 715. I'll tell you that. Let me see how we do on the daily chart and see if anything else happens. Yeah, no, I think on the daily, yeah, I don't know where the triple top is. It the 3 minute? Rock Doc, just tell me what time frame you're looking at so I can make sure I assess this properly. But yeah, I think the Lunar right now on the daily, again, continuing really, really interesting moves here regarding that moon mission. But yeah, kind of continuing to curl back up. We didn't make a lower low from the area that we were in previous to that massive move up. So still opportunity to go to the moon here for Lunar, and certainly a nice look for it on the day. 5 minute time frame. Okay, so yeah, so I'm on the 5 minute. Yeah, I see a bit of a double top, and I see what you mean. We're kind of inching towards a triple top here. I think we're certainly building towards something, but right now, all I can really say definitively, higher lows, higher highs.
So A.O. Lewis, thank you for putting this in the chat. This is what A.O. Lewis said Coinbase is saying. We are aware that some users may see a zero balance across their Coinbase accounts and may experience errors in buying or selling. Our team is investigating this and will provide an update shortly. Yeah, that's really what you want to hear. If you're long. A.O. Lewis, thank you for putting that in. That, according to them, that was posted 3 minutes ago. I'm not sure where. A.O. Lewis, can you just tag me in the chat and let me know where they posted that? Was it on their website? Let's find out. Let's go to Coinbase's website and see if they posted it there. Coinbase. All right, here we go. Get started. Okay, it's not there except all. I don't see anything here. Okay, well, I don't have an account, so that's not going to really help me there. No, nothing really directly on their website unless you search maybe a little bit more. Is there a help or anything? Okay, well, we'll watch that after. We'll look at it after. Anyway, that's what A.O. Lewis was saying. And then EIT says, yes, my account is zero. at Scott Tomlinson. I'm surprised it's not tanking. It did, sir. Have a look at that chart. And Bitcoin, we're assuming Bitcoin was doing a bit of a retracement there as a result of Coinbase because it was at 64,000. And then as quickly as it got to 64,000, it retraced into 60,000. Where's it at right now? Let's find out. 61.5. So that moved back up above 60. So whoever bought the dip there at 60s printing with 1,500 there. Nice move up on Coinbase. Or sorry, Bitcoin. All right, let's have a look at Apple here because it's inching a lot closer into that 180 level. New low of day now, 180.16. And I could be corrected in 1 second. 180.15 now, the low of day. 180.14 now, the low of day on Apple. It is on the way down, and I want to watch what we do with that 180. We took 180 yesterday, but let's call a spade a spade. We got a little bit lucky because Apple could have broken 180 to the downside yesterday. What held us above 180 was that midday release of the Apple Card, this, that, and the other. So that we may not get into 180 defend again. The other side of that is looking at Apple on the daily, you needn't be a super chartered market technician to know somebody is buying this at 180. Let me remove the pivots here because they distort the daily chart, but just allow me a second. I think you guys will agree. Look at all this 180 dipping here. And this takes us all the way back into the beginning of the year, right? Where all the dips into 180 have been being bought up. However, we're getting sequentially lower highs on the daily chart on Apple, possibly positioning us for...
He was very excited for that. He literally had his finger on the button as he was leading up to it, and I was like, oh.
Hey, if you're going to do things, you got to do them right. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
But here's this level of dare, what I'm looking at as well. So we always look to see if areas of support were previously areas of resistance because we know how that flips around, and it was. Well, albeit momentarily in October, we popped into that 180 level. We weren't able to take it, and we tanked right back down into that 165. So 180 has been a recycled level, both support and resistance. Definitely going to keep my eye on AAPL to see if we can get a 180 hold. If we can, fantastic. I'll take it long with a tight stop. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, lots to wait and see what happens here. You also, on Apple, there was a super chat from Kyle Burdett saying, prepare for Apple News drop 180, ... Also, thank you very much to Ramin sending us this. This was a screenshot someone took and posted on Twitter here of the Coinbase status. So this is Inspired Analyst on Twitter here, just saying that basically the message people are saying is exactly quoted there. So thank you to everybody saying that in the chat, and thank you to Ramin for being for finding us that information to make sure that we are sharing everything as it's happening. So thank you so much again to our lovely production team.
Not only does she have a very enviable snack corner, but she now, you know, she can help us while we're on the show, which is fantastic.
Killing it, yeah. So always killing it.
Yeah.
Not just helping us with the angles and the cameras and the sound, but also helping with, and sometimes, you know, massaging the mics when the mics get a little airy.
Yeah. And she's now known as the hand.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like the hand that comes in to fix Sean's mic, the hand that gives the turtle.
The turtle.
Right? Like she is known now as the hand. So shout out to Ram. Killing it as always. All right, guys, Tesla got that fantastic VWAP bounce, and we fat-fingered here, quite frankly. We ended up getting out of the entire position, and it is now on the way up. Here comes $0.75. We were long right at that 203 area. We wet our beak through the break of 50, but forget about that 50. It's more about that 75. Tesla holding on to VWAP like a glove and bouncing off that level. And it's not just VWAP. I want to keep repeating this because the IB high jived with VWAP. The institutional prints at 8 a.m. jived with that level as well. And that's what you call confluence, baby. Shout out to Ob, the one that he'll be on in about 55 minutes with the Katina Man as the Neil has the day off. Good move up here for Tesla.
Yeah, no, they certainly will be taking you through the market there, Obi and Sean. Great team. Hopefully Neil's enjoying his day off, but we're always very pleased as punch to have Obi on the show. He also was on the market recap last night too, so double dose of Obi if you were watching last night and this morning. And always watch the market recap show. Also, yeah, I'm just trying to get out of the queues here ahead of the lesson. I did get part of the position out just above VWAP, but it looks like I'm just going to take everything out now because for whatever reason, we are struggling with VWAP here on QQQ. I feel like Sean's always saying short the queues. I feel like that right now as we did short the queues. We're out of the queues now. I also did take about a 15-cent profit on the SPY, which I'll just take us really quickly through. After a couple tries trying to get into early, I had to, shout out to Neil, who always says, get it on the back end, and that's what I did finally, last but not least here. Ended up getting it around that 505.86, taking it down right into that 505.70 area. Now we're getting even lower. So I think shorts may be in. I am trying to be a little bit less bearish because as someone was saying in here, I'm becoming a little bit Adara LaBear, or I guess Adara LaPage, a little bit too bearish, maybe developing a bit of a bias. But, you know, I'm trying not to be too short biased, but there have been some tasty shorts here.
You said that to me, though. You said I'm starting to like shorting more than going long.
I know, it's bad.
You said that to me. Why is it bad?
Well, I don't want to be biased. I want to have more. I don't want to be myopic. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, okay, I got you. I
like Sean's little light bulb, because I know the light bulb for Sean has been the shorts today.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he took long IBIT.
Yeah.
He was definitely on the other side of that trade for Bitcoin, right in that three banger there. But Adara, man, we are on the way down here for Apple. And I just looked over at the Katina, man, and I'm like, look, man, what do you think about this 180 long? He hemmed and hawed a little bit, and he's like, look, you should probably take it. So I'm definitely going to be looking at 180 right now on Apple, excuse me. Looking to get a little bit closer to 180. We're still in the mid-teens right now. Big Kyle Burdett, Adara, no such thing as being too good at one thing. Obviously, Big Kyle Burdett's going to support you in your short endeavors because Kyle Burdett definitely one of the. He loves to short. Yeah,
he loves to short, and I feel like, you know, always calling those good short moves. Congrats to you. I would not say I'm like good at shorting in any way right now. Definitely still trying to learn to trade, but yeah, trying to get better and figure out what I like.
Short Smeller. Thank you for putting that in the chat, Short Smeller. Short Smeller saying my Coinbase account balance is back. Can anybody else confirm that? Everybody who was in the chat earlier saying you couldn't see your account balance, is it just Short Smeller who was able to get their account back, or is this a company-wide thing? Let me know. Tag me in the chat, please, so that we can convey it to other people as well. Obviously, it was a big thing midday and scary. I can only imagine looking, you know, however much money you had in there, and you look for your money, and it's gone. Obviously, you hope that thing's fixed. Mine is still down, says KC88TX. Okay, so we're still waiting for it to go back. Neo Lee says, yes, it's back. Okay. Not yet for me, says Corey Waters. So it's not a company-wide thing. You can tell so far right now it's on a piecemeal basis. So we'll keep you guys updated about that.
I was going to say too, sorry. I think it was Steve M in the chat, or who was it saying this in the chat? Steve M. Coin article just popped up on TechCrunch. I think I found the article of which you speak. So I'm just going to put this up there. Basically, kind of taking you through. They're saying after the Bitcoin surge, Coinbase's app is showing a zero balance. This just seems kind of more like a summary of events than it is, you know, any kind of investigative reporting. But it does kind of take you. Coinbase was taking people through on X the troubleshooting steps. But they're saying they first acknowledged at 9:40 a.m. at PST that there was an issue here. So they said the story is still developing. I'm going to put this link here as well here, TechCrunch, if you want to see that article there. So that is that. I just wanted to put that out there. And
you want to see ins and outs?
Oh my gosh, I?
You want to see ins and outs? This is a perfect example of ins and outs. The Katina man just posted this on his Twitter. This is his dance with Amazon, baby. Talk about sticking to your plan. I mean, any pop, you short, and then you wet your beak on the way down. Shout out to the Katina man. How many fills do you have today?
I am on 119.
He's 119 fills on the Amazonian alone. And by far the number one stock. Well, we can tell just by looking at the chart, bro.
I mean, just read what it says right here on the sticky note.
I've been given the sticky note, and I've been told to read about what it says. 174 short sale, looking weak last few days. Start the short here against 175. Shout out to the Katina man, Sticky Note Nation, baby.
Yeah, shout out to the Sticky Note Nation. Also, I just want to quickly, before we get to the lesson, someone was saying, so is shorting just like if you think a price has gotten too high? It can be that, but sometimes there's like kind of little indicators people will look for. So for the SPY, I can talk you through, although we only had, you know, one of 3 trades here that worked on the SPY, but basically what I saw here was that we were having a hard time just based on the chart and on what I'm seeing in the book, getting above this VWAP area, this 506. So that's why I decided to take it short. Also, this was kind of around the same area where we had a little bit of resistance earlier, right? So sometimes you want to look at previous levels as well. Basically, it's kind of the same idea as going long because you see something in the chart that you like. So since instead of buying a dip, as some people might do in the long, you might short the rip as well, right? Like there's different ways of looking at it. I can't really say that everyone's going to have the same approach. I don't know if this is going to be of help, but I think I can talk you through like certainly this short. I know Sean will always explain the reason for his shorts, and I think for that beautiful Amazon short that Sharif just pulled up that Sean posted and executed. you had like really an issue. You had a really clear area of resistance with Amazon, right? So I don't want to speak for Sean, but it just kind of looked like, you know, smacking it back down at that area of resistance. So no one's going to have the same thesis, but if you have the thesis and you commit to it, and as Sharif says, if you stick to your plan, that's going to be kind of how it works. So I hope that makes sense. I would love to explain anything else here, but Sharif put, not Sharif, Sean putting this BOBA here.
Example. Just look how easy that is.
Thank you very much, Sean. So look at this. Got a great trade off VWAP here in BABA. Was looking at this all day and finally got the opportunity here. So look at this too. He actually also shows you, he tells you why he got in. Look, he got in right off VWAP. You have that top and tail candle you can see lurking just behind Sean's beautiful big green triangle, indicating that he shorted here. And there you go. So it's not even just that the price is too high, although I totally get what you mean. Sometimes that is why people short. But you're really looking for a series of factors. And then Sean also taking off every time you see us get back into that previous area of support, right? That's 75.30. Thank you so much, Sean, for sharing this.
Bang.
Really appreciate it.
Can I just mention something here real quick?
Yes, please do.
Got into a Zoom long, and this is the reason. So this is Zoom. We saw what Zoom did yesterday, or sorry, the day prior on the earnings win. It put in a big move up. Let me just bring in the ticker over here. It put in a big move up earlier through 70 bucks, 70 and a half, 70.61 the high. But look at all these dips on the VWAP. VWAP is the white line on my chart. Every single dip on VWAP has been bought up. So we just got another touch here at VWAP, 69.50. I went long 63s. Let's see what we get. If we can get something maybe into 70 or so, I'd be pleased. But, you know, just going on what it's done in the past, it's been 3 dips off the same level. So looking to rinse and repeat, as my friend Neil likes to say, looking for a long here on Zoom. Was good to start the day, but kind of dropped off a little bit here midday as the volatility isn't really what it was earlier on. But we're looking to play the range. I'm taking a page out of Adara's book here. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you are.
I'm range trading Adara.
Gosh,
Can you believe it?
I love it. It looks so.
Adara's pumped that I'm trading like her.
It's honestly a really nice look too. Like it's beyond the fact that we're range trading. I totally see what you're seeing.
Yeah. I mean, let me show it to you on here. I think you might like it better on here. Look at this. This is the dips
I do
off
like it better on
right?
here.
So I'm getting hit, and I had this chart up just from yesterday. I didn't actually look for Zoom. You guys know I don't look for consolidative stocks, but it was not parabolic, but it was moving yesterday, and as a result, I had it on my side chart, and that's why I saw it was doing the dance with VWAP here after that big move up. So we're long 63s. Let's see if we can get maybe a 70 beak wetter or something like that. We'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah, like really nice look here so far. And yeah, you're right. I like the more consolidative it looks, the more I like it. So I like that you pulled up that second chart as well. Sharif knows my style. Harry Lou saying that I'm a quote unquote bad influence on Sharif there with the range trading. So thought that was pretty funny. Shout out to you, Harry Lou. Henry Chung also saying that Coinbase is alerting on their site that they are aware and that the funds are safe. Thank you guys, everyone, for updating us with regards to Coinbase.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, we do want to get to the lesson, but we did get a super chat here from Unknown with no vowels, though, except for the U, so UNKWN. $2 super chat, thank you very much. Just saying Nicola, so I'm going to take a wild stab and say we're going to look at Nicola.
Fair.
Here we are. Nicola, what a retracement here, pseudo double top here. And this is another thing that you might short if you see it with regards to that question about shorts.
No, is it
off that 79-cent level, taking this all the way down to 75. Then we get a bit of a base here before coming back into this earlier area of 76. Couple failed wicks here into 76, curling back up. We're actually trying to see a little bit of a bounce off that 9 EMA, but we'll see if it comes to fruition. I think that 74 set 0.8 cents. I don't know how to say this when the numbers are this small. 74 and 80 cents area just below 75 cents is a nice look here for NKLA. And we know they did announce a whole 30 trucks. So I'm sorry, that's always going to be really funny to me.
It is kind of funny.
To Nicola. Every time you said that last week, I burst out laughing without fail. But yeah, in all honesty, though, I do think Nicola is a nice look on the day. If we continue to bounce off that EMA, that curl that we had just below 75 cents, is something I think is a really nice look. On the daily chart, yeah, the daily chart is a tale of chop and churn. We had generally lower highs, lower lows, but look at this, starting February 6th, we see a little bit of a curl to the upside. We see slightly higher highs and higher lows, although, again, that 75-cent area proving to be a sticking point. I think if we can get decisively above that 78-cent area on a closing basis, I think that could be a nice look as well, because that would be A, earlier support for a while there in early January, and B, it would be eclipsing that resistance that we saw, breaking above that resistance on January 29th. So I think that would be a good look there. I hope that is of help there with Nicola. Kyle Burdett saying I say those numbers with sarcasm. Yeah, the truck I did say with sarcasm, but I feel like it's easier for me to do sarcasm if I've heard someone else do it first, you know what I mean, on the topic. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you can say things and not be able to hear it, so that's my take on that. And hopefully that helps you. Thank you very much for your super chat. They're unknown. But now, something that is not unknown are Fibonacci sequences.
Right.
I mean, retracements. We're going to actually start at the start of the PowerPoint today. Very proud of myself. And thank you to Ramin for killing it here with this lovely little background. This is what Ramin and Fabian look like behind the computers here, getting an inside view. No, I'm joking.
I know.
But nice
that does kind of look like their production because like they have a ton of TVs, right? Are you guys able to show this camera over here? Yeah? I just wanted to show them the Chilean Nightmare is going to do it. There we go. All right, well, they'll set that up. You want to start?
Yeah, I do want to start. Okay. So what are Fibonacci retracements based on? They're based on the Fibonacci. Okay, sorry, I should back up. Basically, they're a technical analysis tool that you can use to identify support and resistance levels in different markets. Here we are.
Look at that, guys. That's Ram right there moving, and like you can see us in the back there. There's so many TVs. They got all these lights, all these. Sometimes I wonder how they do it. Shout out to you guys.
I say that all the time.
Yeah,
it's crazy. They're killing it. But yeah, and there's another view of Ramin as well. So.
Ram. She's always laughing.
But yeah, good times here. We love our whole team over here.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, so basically you can use Fibonacci retracements to look at potential support and resistance areas in markets like stocks, Forex, and commodities. But what are they based on? They are based on the Fibonacci sequence, which is a series of numbers where each number is going to be this, the sum of the two preceding numbers. So 0 plus 1 is going to be 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, etc., and this is how the sequence goes. The sequence is found in nature and also financial markets, and traders will use it to specific ratios within the sequence to find potential price movement. So with that in mind, how the heck do you use these sequences? How do you use these retracements? Well, I'm going to tell you. You can use them to identify the trend. So first you have to understand the overall trend in the market, upwards, downwards, or sideways, rangy, chop and turn, what have you. Fibonacci retracements do work best in trending markets because, and the way I put that is because with trending markets, you would actually have a better sense of retracement. In range, you're going to have a little bit less wiggle room, right? But if you're in an uptrend and then you have a pullback, that's going to give you a little bit more room with which to work. So that might be a better look. Or if you're in a downtrend and you see a little bit of a pop back up at a certain level, then that can give you a better chance to short. So that's why we say trending markets. But as people said in the chat, you can use them in consolidative markets. I think it gives you a little bit more opportunity if you have these trending markets. Defining the swing points. You can choose the high and low points of the trend you identified. So if the trend is upward, you might want to choose the recent low swing and the recent swing high. So the recent swing low would be the bottom, and the recent swing high, of course, would be the top. Now you want to draw the retracement lines using key Fibonacci ratios. So using the chosen high and low points, apply the key Fibonacci ratios, and these are going to be 23.6, 38.2, 50, 61.8, and 78.6. Also, a fun fact I was reading today, 50 is actually not an identified Fibonacci level, but a lot of people use it in tandem with Fibonacci retracement. So fun little fact that I learned because I do love learning. These ratios are basically used to calculate horizontal lines in the chart, which can create potential support and resistance zones. So here's an example. So you have the swing low here at the bottom of this range, and this is another clear example of an uptrend here that you can use it on a downtrend as well. Then we come into the swing high, which is going to be just shy of that 84. Now you can use these little lines here, you have your Fibonacci lines, to identify the next area of potential support. But we're going to get into the limitations of this in a bit because I think this is a really good example of how you can get a little bit lost in the sauce, to quote our friend Obi, who you'll be hearing from post-haste, in these levels, because there are so many levels from which you can choose. So that's where things can get dicey in terms of limitations. Another example here of retracement, you have the swing high here, the top of this range. I like this little green dude trying to draw his lines. Then we get to the swing low here, which actually ended up having to retrace on the 38.2 fib level. Then we come back up, right? So it gives you an example if you're looking at this, especially with the chop and turn in this example, you might say, hey, this is a good opportunity for a dip buy, which you might not have identified without the help of fibs. What do they tell us? Well, Fibonacci retracements basically can tell you that the theory is that after a strong price movement, the price can go back maybe to a certain point of that move before continuing the original direction. So Fibonacci levels are going to act as potential zones where buyers or sellers might step in and fight a little bit, which would create potential support and resistance before continuing in its original direction. And this is where I find it kind of interesting with regards to Elliott waves, which is the same idea where you have a certain move and then X amount of retracement, right? So kind of the same idea here that you're seeing with these Fibonacci levels. Also Fibonacci levels, like we said, zones of where buyers or sellers might step in before the movement continues. Other notes here, limitations. So it can kind of be hard to tell what level might be important because there are so many Fibonacci levels. So as we showed you, I'm going to go back a couple slides here. Thank you for getting this picture, Sharif. You can see how many potential levels you might have.
Oh, yeah.
How do you know which one is going to be your retracement level? On this chart, it looks like we might actually be retracing at the 2360 level. But here it's identified potential support around this 50 or 6180 level, right? So it's super hard to actually know what's going to be the right level. And so some traders get a little frustrated because they say which one is going to be the level. So it actually, in this case, abundance of levels can get a little bit dicey for traders trying to trade them. How do you know what level is going to be useful at what time? Also, the history of note. So Leonardo Pisano-Bagolo, who's also known as Leonardo Fibonacci, didn't actually create the Fibonacci sequence. However, he is credited with bringing Fibonacci numbers into Europe. And the discovery of Fibonacci, discovery and development of Fibonacci numbers is actually credited to mathematicians in India around 600 to 800 AD. And one of the mathematicians credited here is Acharya Virahanka. So a couple other Indian mathematicians credited as well, but Virahanka, one of the ones really credited with the development in India. We don't talk a lot about history, and someone was actually saying we should have a week on history of trading, which could get interesting if we do it, you know, in little spicy bite-sized amounts, but we always appreciate the suggestions there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I just thought that was interesting, so I wanted to put that up there. Also, there are other theories that you can kind of use in tandem or alongside these this Fibonacci retracements. Some people saying, Frank Jones saying, make sure that Fibonacci retracements are aligned with volume, which I do agree with, but they also have some natural alignment with Elliott waves. As we were saying, Elliott waves identify some built-in areas of retracement that you might see within a pattern. Also, Gartley patterns, which you should really be taking a look at. They're used to help identify reaction highs and lows, which can certainly be interesting. And I know as someone who uses pivots a lot, you might find the whole high and low area pretty interesting. So maybe Gartley patterns would be worth a look indeed. But last but not least, here are some key points to remember. These are not predictive. Much like any trend, you do want to use them in tandem. As Frank Jones was saying, you really want to use them with volume as well. So basically, all they do is just offer potential areas of interest. They don't tell you anything. They just kind of give you some areas of wiggle room, areas to keep an eye on. Also, confirmation is always going to be key, right? You want to make sure that you're using with other technical indicators, other areas of interest, and you're not just going in all willy-nilly because of one thing you see.
Well said.
It's always going to be really important. And they're not going to be perfect, right? You have to understand the limitations, especially given how many levels there are. Like we said, that can be bamboozling for some traders, understandably so. They can also be subjective and unreliable, so you want to make sure that you use with caution. This is just a basic lesson and a basic understanding of Fibonacci retracements and a little bit of the history as well to the Fibonacci sequence. Further research and practice is always recommended before incorporating these as part of your healthy trading diet. So hopefully that made some sense, and thank you, Sharif, for putting this lovely presentation together with the help of Ramin's graphic there.
Yeah, and Brainram killing it with that graphic because like they look so mundane.
She's saying she didn't do anything.
Oh, yeah, right. All right, guys, this I feel a little bit silly with this trade over here, but this is what happens when you go outside your wheelhouse. We try to take this range trade on Zoom. We get in, we put a line in the sand at 44s, and then we end up getting bottom wick. So that's really frustrating for me there. Anyway, didn't lose too much on it. Still doing decent. Long the future now because a bit of a double bottom hold, looking for that move up. We'll see what we get here on the future. Dara, we broke through VWAP. We broke through the neckline over here. I was looking at this 25-point level, looking for that area to defend if we come back down off it. We'll have to wait and see what we get. Right now, people saying BTC hitting 45. I stopped looking at BTC. Oh, so we dipped below 60. We are on the way down here with Bitcoin after recovering on that move up into 61.85. Nice move right back down here on the future. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But right now, I'm just keeping my eye on this futures trade that we have because we're long the MNQs and we're looking for a nice move up. Where are we long? 31.75. All right. So we'll see what we get there. And then obviously, as per usual, Zoom is back to the upside again, bamboozling me a little bit. All right, let's look at what is moving in mega cap world. We didn't take that Apple 180. The Katina looked at me and he's like, did you take Apple? I'm like, no, man, it didn't come down into my level. I was like waiting for 180 single digits. Apple on the way up here, breaking through the 10 period on its way possibly into the 20 period, which is the yellow line on my chart. So Apple weak on the day, but looking to get a little bit of a bounce here. Not much actually really happening in mega cap world, to be honest with you, at the moment. Nvidia's sideways. Tesla's at VWAP again for the second time, so we'll have to wait and see whether this one holds up at VWAP, but it is putting in lower highs that we need to be cognizant of. I'm talking about Tesla at that 202.5 level. Amazon is doing decent here. It also bounced off VWAP at 173.40 on its way possibly here into that 174 top. 173.97 is the Amazon high on the day. We haven't been able to break through 174s, and it's been having trouble with pivots as well. Softy, you know, we saw the one, the Canobe, and talk about this one earlier. Softy is still red on the day, 0.09%. To go green, we have to break above that 407.50. It's putting in higher lows, but really by how much? That's really the question here, which is not too much. So in the future trade, not sure exactly what we get. I liked this double bottom over here, this double bottom off 17.9, and then we broke the neckline here around 17.925, hence why I got involved. We'll see what we get here, Dara.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what we get here, kind of the theme of the day, especially given that I think you and I are kind of tussling a little bit here. You're long futures, which looks great. I'm short Nvidia, which is, honestly, I want to explain this. Yeah, so I zoomed in on this. As you said, a little side to side. You know I like that sideways action. Look at this bottom. Look at these failed wicks up above that 784. To me, this is a pretty tasty look. You know what I mean? If we break above that 480, 450 area where we had these kind of failed wicks, that's where I'll be getting out. And this double bottom does make me a skosh nervous on the 5 minute. But in general, I do like how much you know, chop and trim we've been having and the fight that we've been having at that 784. Initially, I was planning on getting some out at 783 and then saving the rest for the bottom of the range, but it looks like we might not be getting that. If we do continue to fail this level, I'll probably have to take everything out around that 783.20 area where we saw a little bit of chop and turn. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on this, of course, watching NVDA like a hawk, but I'm going to wait a little bit more here because we haven't really been given a reason to exit just yet. Patience a virtue and not one that I possess in spades, if I'm being really honest, especially in the world of day trading. So I'm going to be pretty cognizant here, but I do not want to leave quite yet. Also, yeah, MK NYSE making a good moment here. Wicks on the bottom and the top of that range, so it's a wash. Yeah, that's a good point too, right? But I think what's interesting, though, is it kind of says in both ways, right? So we had that movement down here, the double bottom, and then we come back and we're seeing the same thing, right? So I think I totally do see what you're saying. And I think it does kind of show you have opportunities at either end of the range. Kyle Burdett, 199, super chat. Thank you so much. The 7th grader is not touching that Adair comment. Honestly, I don't even remember what I said. But yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. Always much appreciated, and I'm going to wait and see what NVDA does here. It looks like we are rejecting a little bit. Let's see if that rejection does continue. Scott Tomlinson is saying, as opposed to power hour today, could it be bloody hour? I mean, who knows? The Qs, I mean, shout out to Sharif. This was a really nice long here off that double bottom. And I did have a Q short today. Didn't take as much of the move as I could, but really nice look here, double bottom. Q's continuing to climb, so I think this is a really nice look as well. But yeah, I think we'll have to wait and see. We're still down on the day, right? SPY also just barely red on the day. SPY also a double bottom. So these two, while not the same in terms of their percentage on the day, certainly moving in tandem, I do have to say, with regards to the pseudo double bottom action we've got here. I was pleased as punch to get a bit of a short there. But yeah, we're going to have to see on that. NVIDIA climbing a little bit. Let me go take a look at NVDA because we're getting kind of into my area where an exit might be required. Yeah, the spread on this is really dicey, but we're still kind of within that 784.50 area. So I'm going to stay here for the time being. I will, however, change my point of exit because this is getting kind of a little dicey for the amount of time that I initially intended to stay. So we're going to see if we can get about a 50-penny move on half the shares and then save a piece for the dream heading into that 483 level. So that's going to be the new look here for this NVIDIA as I update on the go. Yeah, the Q's still looking pretty tasty here.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah.
Can't really complain about it, but we'll continue to watch, see what we get. There, the trade that I'm kind of disappointed in myself about was not taking this Apple 180, yeah, the general area. I mean, why did I have to wait until it got into the single digits? You know, can I risk 15 pennies? Because look, now we just touched 70, so that would have been a nice move on AAPL and a predictable move owing to how we traded yesterday. So good luck there. Keeping an eye on some of these other names. We've been looking at Tesla because Tesla was at VWAP. We've been looking at NVIDIA. NVIDIA also popped off the 50 period. So remember how we always talked about how you had to keep your eye on what the specific instrument was respecting on that day. Is it VWAP? Is it the 200? Is it the 50? For whatever reason today, we've been bouncing off the 50 period moving average on NVIDIA. It hasn't even come down to VWAP, 782, 781-ish area. Now coming back into pivots again, but with still red on the day, 0.33% south. We're gonna have to break through 787 to go green. That's not that hard for NVIDIA, seeing as it's at 785. $2 is almost nothing for NVIDIA. So continuing to watch. The Fuge just went up to 17,950. Please, just punch about this. Why doesn't it show it on my position board? Did I get out of the entire thing? That's the second time I've done that today. That's the second time
Nina's bullying. She's laughing.
Yeah, she's laughing at me. I fat fingered again on the Future. I fat fingered earlier as well. I really need to move these keys. They're just too close. Yeah, okay. So I ended up getting out by accident here. I meant to take a 10-point winner, and then we ended up getting out the entire thing. Yeah, that's what fat fingers is. In the context of electronic trading, this refers to a trader incorrectly keying an order. And that would be me a lot of the time.
Like she's just putting it now at this point to bully you.
Right, yeah, of course. But anyway, whatever.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? You got to take the hits as they come. The other one, we haven't talked about small caps ever since the top of the show, honestly, and ADIL just made a nice power move up through $2, reclaiming VWAP as well. So ADIL may want to make another midday move here. It's up 157%. Had trouble breaking through that 287-ish area. Let's wait for it to break and hold above VWAP, not just a quick break in, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and we dip right below 2 again. That's not what I want to see there. But if you're looking for the higher lows, yeah, obviously you broke it with this low over here bouncing off VWAP, and then you ended up bouncing off the 50. So possibly small caps in play. You wouldn't know it if you looked at Vanny. Vanny's now below VWAP. It's also below $4. So VWAP really has not been the level to trade Vanny. I thought initially it was, and that's why we tried to have that trade. Well, we were positive on it. We tried to have that trade dip off VWAP, but look at what it started doing here. Once it broke below below VWAP, it started doing the dance with 4. Sometimes it got to 4.25, but it was immediately retraced. So it's having trouble staying above 4 right now. I'm talking about VANI. This one was awfully strong to start the day, but it's really kind of given up a little bit of the ghost now. It's not tradable for me because it's not above VWAP, even though it did break the pre-market high. Right, so it had one of the rules, it fulfilled, pardon me, one of the rules, and hasn't fulfilled the other one as it's below it. So we'll keep watching ADIL to see if that presents us with any opportunities. Oh, there we go, NVIDIA again through 785. Yeah, so NVIDIA on the way up here, there. So is Tesla bouncing off VWAP.
Yeah, Tesla's interesting. I had to leave NVIDIA, but I have to say I'm really proud of myself because, look, I got out way before we had this big pop. I was watching that 484.50 area. That was my area of exit. I said we're holding this really well. I got out. I should have been a bit scalpier in the move down because when I initially got in, we did get that move into that 783.20 area, which I should have taken instead of waiting for that 783. That's okay. You live, you learn, and I have to say I'm not upset because I did follow my plan. Good. And as I say this, NVIDIA's like, oh my gosh, Adira, like I'm going to move back down now. That's okay. I'm not looking at this until it gets rangy again. It looked rangy here. The range didn't work out, and that is A-okay. We adapt. We react, we readapt, and we act. That is an office reference to anyone who might have recognized that. But yeah, we have to be really flexible as traders, and that's really something I'm learning that is really important.
What are you watching nowadays?
Oh, what am I? Okay, my sister and I have been watching Love is Blind.
What?
That's the Netflix reality show.
Look at Ram
okay, we need to talk.
town.
She and I need to talk about that after then, because
you guys have more in common than you may know.
I had no idea.
Ram and yourself. Okay, so what streaming service is that?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix.
And it is, in a word, chaos.
Hold on, Ram, is that the one where there's? Yes. Okay. So this is the one where there's different ones, right? Okay. There's different series, like depending on the culture or whatever.
Yeah. There's different. A lot of the Netflix ones as well. Too Hot to Handle also has a whole bunch of different countries.
I got it. Okay.
But yeah, so that's. I wish I had a better answer for you than that, but that is my answer, and it's been pretty entertaining.
Anything else?
Yeah. I mean, I watch podcasts and stuff too, right?
Yeah,
but in terms of like shows, that's been a bit of a guilty pleasure. It's not been a guilty pleasure. It's been a guilty pleasure, unfortunately. There. What about you? What are you watching?
Well, Young Sheldon's done. I killed all 6 seasons of that pretty quick, but the 7th season has now begun, and the first episode was last week, and the second episode is. Hold on. Second episode was last week. Third episode is tomorrow. I gotta tell you, it's the last season and they're winding it down, and we already know that this is gonna be the last season. So I don't know, I kind of have like high expectations, and it's not really, well, we'll let you know. But that's all I'm watching at the moment. What else am I watching? I always watch my 2.5 Men though. That's just on repeat all the time.
Yeah, I know you like that one.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Ramin asking for show recommendations here, so.
Ram?
Yeah, it says send show recos.
Yes, exactly. Send it. What do we got here? You watching the new season of Curb, says Red. Dude, I've never watched an entire season of Curb, and that's kind of funny because I'm a huge Seinfeld fan, and I figured, I don't know. It's a little bit different. I'm going to try to get into Curb. I saw the commercials. What is this, like the last season, right?
It is.
Yeah, Curb. I know you're all about Curb as well.
Yeah, I don't watch like full seasons either, but I've seen a healthy amount of Curb.
Okay, fair. Yeah, no, I do like, what's his name, Larry David. I think he's a brilliant individual. And Seinfeld, the quality of Seinfeld markedly dropped when he left. And then Jerry Seinfeld had to write it on his own. It became so gimmicky, and it lacked like the depth of the storyline that you could tell Larry David brought to the table. So. I definitely will give Curb a look there, Dara. But I'm also going to give Apple a look here. Apple is on the way up, and this is the only trade that I wanted to take and that I didn't take on the day. I feel bad about myself for having done that. I feel bad because the Katina man gave me the nod too. He's like, this looks good. And you know what? We're not 80 pennies in the money on Apple as it breaks through 180.81 right now because we didn't take the trade. But let's talk about where we can encounter resistance. First area I'm looking at is this 181, not just because it's the whole dollar level, but look at this base that we set up at 181. We initially bounced off 181, holding that level as an area of support before giving up the ghost here around the noon hour. So I want to see how that previous area of support acts as resistance should we make it back up into 181. Unless we have like a news catalyst that drops midday to help keep this thing above 180. I guess you don't really need to because they have a share buyback program though. They could keep it artificially afloat if they wanted to. The Future is the other trade that we were in. I'm pleased as punch about this trade, having waited for the neckline to break. I'm disappointed in myself for having fat fingered out of the remaining contract that I have, but that's neither here nor there. That's not your worries. And thank you for the person in the chat that told me move the keys. You'll thank yourself. I am going to move the keys. I've been told to move the keys for going on 2 years now, and I still haven't done it, but that's my problem. Anyway, here we go. 17,950 coming in on the Future. A beautiful looking double bottom. If you love your chart patterns, this is what you look for. And this is why I waited to get into the Future through the breakup a quarter, because I waited for that neckline on the W to give up the ghost to say that, yes, we are going to stay above that level on a closing basis. In addition to that, I like the fact that the neckline and VWAP were kind of generally in the same area, not exactly at the same level, but generally. And so when we cleared VWAP on a closing basis, I felt more emboldened to take this trade. Look, it's been a rangy day on the Future. We really haven't broken out or broke down. A little bit above, a little bit below. We're still negative on the day, obviously. As to go green, we got to get above 18,000 and take that about 20 points north of 18,000. 18,020. So we'll have to wait and see if we can get green on the day. We've seen it happen before, I'll tell you that. I go home, I leave here, I look at my phone, wherever I am, whether I'm at the gym or whether I'm at the stores, and I see that the Future just went up and to the right. and I missed the entire move. So that's what happens in power hour, and that's why they call it power hour, because you get those type of moves there.
Yeah, because the hour is full of power. And we actually do have these last 2 power hours, plural. They're going to be have you taken through them. I worded that really weirdly and poorly with Obi and Sean. Great team to make up for Neil getting a day off, spending some time with his daughter. So shout out to Neil,
nice.
Of course, as always. But we do get to have Obi on as well, giving his thoughts and his perspective. And he and Sean always having a really good time and really great dynamic there as well. So exciting times. Also, I want to talk about this Tesla short.
Go.
I was pretty happy. So we got, why I got in on this, which I realized was kind of a dicey move, is look where we continue to see this fall, this 203.40. We get again into that 203.40 area, then we go lower. Then we can't even eclipse the 203.45, and I say, you know what, Adara? This is here, this is now. It's now or never. Shout out to High School Musical. And so I had to get in this. I guess High School Musical 3, I think. But yeah, I got involved in this. The 203.44 was my area of entry, I think. 203.40, I don't think my print was that good. Not the point. I got involved. I got out. This was really scalpy. I got out around the 9 EMA. Should have kept a piece of the dream because it looks like that dream for the Tesla shorts is live and well. But nice look down here. Pretty happy with this look. Honestly, and it's always a shocking day when the one day that I've had, honestly, all green trades on right now is Tesla. So I'm pretty pleased as punch that the Cybertruck and I are moving in the same direction. Someone earlier as well was asking about the Roadster, and I don't know if anyone answered that for you in the chat, but I can answer that for you. Basically, Elon putting on X that he's like, you know what, we're actually planning on getting this Roadster shipments by 2025. So that was kind of the plan there for the Roadster. And this one apparently going to be 0 to 100 real quick. Shout out to Drake. But in all seriousness, they're planning on having this go 0 to 60 in legitimately under a second. So it's going to be wild if they can get this thing working. Nice look there on Tesla and the Roadster.
Can we show them the Roadster? Ram, look at this. So I don't know. This looks very McLaren-esque to me.
Yeah, classic.
So that I like the McLaren, obviously. I love English cars. And then this is the interior.
Ooh.
Talk about minimalism, and we know how he feels about minimalism. And we know how he feels about yoke-looking steering wheels. He's done all this stuff at the production level. What I kind of find a little funny is the screen. It's put in portrait mode. But what we need now is landscape, because all his new cars have landscape in them. If you ever seen the Model S or X, initially they were in portrait, and then the new versions, 2022 onwards, they're all in landscape. And so I think that we may probably see a change with respect to the center console. I doubt he keeps this one. Well, maybe he does, because it's a sporty looking car. I know the McLarens have it in portrait as well. So if he's trying to go off that, and this is the other side of it, Ram, look at that. I love the white bucket seats. These are the kind of seats I have in my car, by the way, exactly same looking seats in my car. These are the sports seats. I absolutely love this car. I would definitely get it if I could afford it, but what a looker. And later this year, maybe, early next year, so that should be super interesting there for Tesla, which just got a nice bounce off VWAP, by the way. Kind of a range trade, no question about that.
Oh yeah, that's why I got involved in that.
I know you love that. I know you love it. What's your look right now?
My look right now, actually, first, I do have, well, of course I will have a take on the Tesla range, but first I do want to talk about, someone in the chat was asking about this, this GLBE, and that was Nice Skin saying, hey, Adara Sharif, can you please check GLBE? Fell after earnings, I'm in a long swing. Please analyze in a higher time frame. Great show today. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for asking, watching the show. Global E Online. Yeah, this one actually, it fell. Okay, the revenue, the guidance was pretty weak. So Q1 revenue guidance of 138.5 mil to 145 mil versus the expected 150.5 mil. So that's pretty weak. And then also revenue, full year revenue guidance also really weak here. So 731 to 771 mil. So I guess actually the estimate was in the middle of that range. So 756.02 million there. So that's the outlook. But they did actually post an earnings beat, so a smaller loss per share than expected, and a decent sales beat here for GLBE for Q4. So just to summarize the earnings to give us some context, that's why I wanted to do that. As you can see here, I have identified some levels that I think are interesting. I think there's a clear resistance at this 42 area. I don't know where you got involved, but I think that 42 area I'd be extremely cognizant of. 1, 2, 3, 4 bounces into that 42, then a little bit of an area of support at that 42 area before we get that double top. I'm going to draw another line here as well around that 46 area. Now these other lines I've drawn here as well are just mini uptrends within the move, and we also had a bit of a downtrend here as well. So we had an uptrend starting May 18th, 2022. Sorry, I went way back. You said you wanted higher time frames, so we were going to try to give that to you here. Then we get another higher low, then another mini uptrend starting March 2023 to May 2023, so another little higher low. Then we get all the way up to that double top I mentioned, July 3rd, 13th, and August 1st, getting these double tops around 46. Then we start to see lower lows, and that's going to be from August to November 1st. Then we get another pop, and actually another area that I think is interesting, quite a few tops here at that 40 level, right? Then we come back, basically back down after some lower lows at November 15th. Then we start to get the November to remember on GLBE. Now, what's interesting here, long story short, is I mean, it's pretty much still a long story medium, but anyways, part of this that I find interesting too is even when we fell on earnings, we didn't really make a lower low. In fact, we fell back into that earlier area. I'm noticing more areas I like at that 33, which look, was an area of support on October 31st, and then an area of resistance twice, January 26th and April 6th, 2023, right? So the fact that we came to fall back here, I don't think is nothing. Basically what I'm trying to say is I do think there's an uptrend going on here in general, but I think we need to eclipse that 42 and then that 46 area for us to really make some sense of this uptrend. I apologize for all of the lines here, but I hope that was of some value to you because I do think this is a really interesting chart and I do think there is some support going forward. So thank you very much, Nice Skin, and I hope this is a nice analysis that you're able to use in some way in your swing trade.
Yeah, thank you very much for that very thorough analysis, Adara.
Maybe too thorough, but thanks.
No, I don't think so. We're watching Tesla here. I'm watching Tesla intently. I'm going to try and do the same thing that I did with Tesla on the future. I really want a double bottom of sorts to form. If it's a bounce off VWAP, it's 2 bounces off VWAP, fantastic. Even better than I know I don't know for certain, but I feel better about the fact that that is a key level of support. And where I go long is above that 203 3/4, possibly, maybe even waiting to 204 so that the closing or the candle can close above that 203 3/4. And the reason I say that is this is what I did with the future. I waited for the double bottom to form at 17.9, and then we took the break of the neckline right there, which is the middle part of the W, long on a closing basis, see if we can ride this one up like we did with the future. But Tesla, great 2 bounces right now off VWAP, both predictable trades. You had to give this one a little bit of room because VWAP was sitting at, say, 202 and 2/3 last time it double bounced off that or bounced off it. And then look at this, what this candle did. It came down below the $0.50. So you had to give it some room. You can't trade this Tesla with like a 10-penny stop, a 15-penny stop. You're gonna get in trouble. What's up, Katina Man? What are you dollar in the money on now? The Katina Man is now at, he's long 34s on IBIT as I think crypto's back above 60. Yeah, crypto's above 60 again. It looks like it's on its way to 60,000. There was a talk about double bottoms at Dara. Let me show this. I'm not allowed to show this thing, or I can show it over here. Look at this. Beautiful looking double bottom right here on BTC. There it is.
Oh, wow.
Look at this level over here. Jeez Louise. Okay, so the confirmation to me would be above the 61.5, 61 2/3. But yeah, there you go. You got that move right back above 60,000, but it's having trouble with the VWAP. Look at that come into 61,000, just thereabouts. It wasn't able to break above that VWAP level. So great looking double bottom, possibly. That level was so good, you have to take it twice. And then really, if we're going to confirm the move up, it's going to have to be above that 61.5, 61,000 2/3. Otherwise, no involvement in this for me. Nothing right now on mega caps or the Mag 7 except Tesla. We're continuing to watch that. The look here, though, on ADIL, Ram was the small cap capper that we were talking about that made its way through VWAP, but then look at how quickly it made its way through VWAP. It tanked right back down. So the lower high trend continues here on ADIL. There's some other people that keep talking about Polestar and saying how they're sad Neil's not here because Neil loves trading these EV names. Polestar having a hell of a day. It was well up over 19%. It's not 19.3 now, but it was up almost above 29% at times. It did have trouble breaking through $2 though. So got to $1.99, then the short was in play with all these lower highs and lower lows, looking to possibly base out at that $1.75. Getting some support right now, ironically enough, not at VWAP, but at that $1.75. And the thing is, we didn't even come into $1.75 as a key area of resistance. So why it's holding up here, a bit of a mystery to me. But Polestar looking real good. Now, in case you're wondering why PSNY is moving, well, they were able to raise about $1 billion worth of cash to help with production and cash flow issues. In addition to that, they came out and they re-guided what their full year 2024 earnings was going to look like, and they basically said margins are going to really improve, and that is something that you have to intently watch if you're invested in EV names. As we saw last year, Elon start the price war, and when there's a price war, obviously there is an issue with margins as they continue to contract and compress. So Polestar coming out and saying they're going to be able to hold on to margins. We'll have to see if that's just talk or they're actually able to do that, Adara. So Polestar, big move up on the day.
Yeah, Polestar, really nice look. They also report earnings tomorrow morning, so you're not going to be able to check that out with the earnings that we have after in the market recap with Sean, and boy, he will be giving you a lot of earnings tonight. There's some nice, tasty names coming up there. Paramount, AMC, Mara being one of the I don't know why I didn't say that first. Thank you, Sharif. So lots of really tasty earnings that Sean, the Katina man, Killer Katina, what have you, will be bringing you in the aftermarket show. So definitely check that one out. Right now, I did get involved in this NVIDIA long, and I'll explain why I did. It held up for a moment there, but basically I got in because that 70-84-20 area I was noticing had a really interesting magnetism here. We did have a shout out to Obi, who calls out magnetism on certain levels, as you said, when he was on this show talking about some reversion and some levels here. But yeah, it looks like we're pulling back. Basically, why I like this area of entry was because look where we had this top, right? This 784. I know Kyle Burdett was saying yesterday's VWAP was 784.20. I thought it could be interesting support. Resistance turning into support. Now it looks like it is just a rejection. It's too bad I was still not short this level because I was initially short that area, but I'm watching for what we do here at the 783, basically where we are right now, because that was where we had a massive turn of fortune when I initially was in this short. So we're going to keep an eye on it. If we continue to go lower here, I'm getting out. But that was kind of my look there on the NVDA short. Also, I want to say something too, because I don't think I mentioned this yet. I think Ryan Martin, I believe, in the chat was saying, hey, is there a way that we can see your guys' charts so we can look at and analyze and understand why you got into these positions? Sean and Neil do post their charts on X, and we actually did have a couple of Sean's charts with his trades pulled up earlier to kind of show some examples of shorts in the Amazon and also the BABA short, right?
Yep.
But also my Instagram, TraderTV Adara, I do have one chart, and it was that PayPal situation where I got out of that short right before it dropped like $4 on PayPal day. It's probably not going to still, I don't know if I can pull my Instagram on my computer, but yeah, I can it's not going to show now, but here's PayPal. But yeah, so basically, I'm going to try to post more charts. I don't know if my trades will basically be of any help to anyone because I'm obviously still learning. But yeah, you can see Sean and Neil's trades because they do post them quite frequently on X.
Yes,
so you can always check that out as well. And Bears versus Bulls, often putting the links to those in the chat as well.
I definitely should be more active on X too. Like
I'm trying to get an X, for trading.
I just find it, look, I love Elon. You know I'm an Elon fanboy. Say whatever you guys want in the chat, that's fine. But I find X to be so toxic. Yeah, man. There's a lot of like vitriol on X, man. And that's like, look, I like some of the features he's thrown on there. So there's user input. So if there is a contentious issue, users can add context in there for you, but like, oh, this is bias because this and that. So you get both sides of the argument. So I definitely like that. But I don't like the vitriol on there. I don't like how people like just, I just don't like it. Yeah. And the thing is too, once you find an idea like that you like, it really spews that idea in your face over and over. It's like TikTok knows how I feel. Right? It knows that I like car videos, but it also knows I like space videos. It also knows I like trading videos. So it shows me a little bit of each. X, no. If you like one thing on X, be careful. because it'll just keep pushing that whatever content you're facing. That's kind of my issue with it. Otherwise, I hope he does well. So, Kyle Burdett, I tried getting into using X for just a sticky note. The crap it throws at me makes me not want to use it as well. I agree, dude. I got to tell you the truth. It's just, to me, it's a bit of an issue. Yeah, look, you're right, Glenn. Glenn brings up a really good point. Free speech isn't free. You have to take the good with the bad. Very good point, Glenn. Very good point. It's just, to me, I'd rather not see all that vitriol, but that's just my issue. All right, guys, Tesla holding up nice here. That double bottom at 202 and change, 202 and a third. Well, it's $1 removed from there. And now I'm going to be very interested in this Tesla trade. If we can break and hold above this 203 and 3/4, that's where we wicked into, and then were met with immediate selling. But we do get that second bounce off view up, and so I'm more emboldened this time around to want to get in, but I'm going to want it on a closing basis, not a quick wick up and then a move back down. And if you're wondering why I'm being such a scaredy cat, look over here. You got that big wick through into that 3/4 level, and then you said, no, you don't. And it pulled you back $1. So I need it on a closing basis. I also really like this candle over here, a hammer candle, which meant that shorts were trying to initiate around there, and the bull said, no, you don't. And they pushed you right back up. And this is another 5-minute candle to make a new high right now. Good look on this double bottom here on TSLA.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really nice look. And I know earlier, I meant to talk about the range earlier, and then I forgot because I was looking at GLBE. But yeah, I think this range was really nice. I did short one of those pops here when we saw a bit of a triple top around that 203.40 area. I was going to get back in on this, but then I noticed we're actually holding it really well. So I think it very much looks like a long now with that double bottom look, much like NVIDIA, a little bit bamboozling in that we have strong wicks in either direction when you had that double top or double bottom. I tried to short this, didn't work out. Really happy with where I got out. Now, the reason I'm still in this long is because we held that 783 beautifully. I said I've noticed a lot of bamboozlement and a move back to the upside or reversal around that area, which is why I wanted to wait. I did wait. That might have been a mistake, but, you know, just trying to adhere to risk management principles. And I think sometimes with NVIDIA and Tesla, as you said, with Tesla, sometimes you have to give these guys a little bit of wiggle room. Maybe I gave this too much wiggle room. Maybe I shouldn't have been involved in the trade. But we're not here to lament. We're here to make some trades, and we're here to learn how to trade, and we're here to hopefully not get these messy NVIDIA trades, but it is what it is. Really trying to learn every day and not be too hard on yourself, because it's really easy to beat yourself up, but it's not, you know what I mean? That you don't really learn anything from that either, right?
100%.
Like, it's better to look at it through a clear head, and that's why also I appreciate what Brian Martin had to say with regards to the charts. It's just, I think that is kind of a good way to learn too, right? Like looking at the charts and seeing, hey, why did you do this? So I think that's something I would like to do a little bit more of in the future. I just find it really hard to take screenshots as well and, like, you know, find them in a way that I, you know, want to post them on here on the computer. I'm just maybe like not the most tech savvy person ever, so that could be that.
Benzinga? Did we do Benzinga today?
But I was just gonna say, yeah, I was just thinking about that. Let's also give a shout out to our friends at Benzinga. As you can see here, I did pull up those GLBE earnings, Global E, using Benzinga because it's literally right open right here. But we are brought to you by Benzinga Pro, and you can sign up today for 50% off their premier news and research platform for retail traders with code TTV capital letters. That is TTV capital letters. Just use the link in the description to go to checkout. Amazing. So there you go, and thank you very much to Benzinga. As always, I do use their platform often for all the news information. Sharif's always saying, you know, I always have it open. So thank you very much to Benzinga Pro. Anything else you're looking into going into the rest of the day?
Not really, just this Tesla trade. I'm really obsessed with this Tesla trade. Yeah, obsessed. Yeah, exactly. Just because it was a stronger of the bunch on the day, if I had to choose a strong one, it did reject. And shout out to Kyle for calling this 205-ish top here with respect to yesterday's top, because that ended up being a great trade. But this VWAP hold, and now we're testing this neckline area over here for the double bottom, and then we're getting a maybe more liquid time of day, and then if we stay above 17.9 and maybe want to test 18, then I see, you know, good look here for Tesla. So this is the trade I'll be watching into the afternoon. In mega cap world, I am more of a long bias trader anyway. That's just how I roll. I'll take a short from time to time, but it's mostly longs for me. And I'm looking for this Tesla trade. Nothing else. The other one that we had at Ram was this Apple 180 area, but it is not to be because it's, well, far removed from that, looking to break 181, in fact. What else is there? Softy just popped up there for whatever reason. There goes Softy through that 407.5 level. So this was dead money earlier at 406. It's been awfully consolidative. This area right here where it's currently at exactly 407.5 is yesterday's closing print. We've had a lot of trouble trying to stay above that level. The last time around was around 11:30, and then we dipped and then we did this double bottom that I'm seeing on a lot of charts today. So we'll have to see what Softy gets and then whether we get that 408 break. Adair, 1 minute left on the show.
Yeah, I found it to be a really difficult day to trade. We had a lot, honestly, going on for a midday. We had ups, we had downs, we had highs, we had lows. We were both trading futures at different points. We also had Bitcoin and the Coinbase situation, which, of course, we're going to be staying tuned for updates on that. But, yeah, it's been such a day in the market, and hopefully you guys have had as much fun and as much of a wild and woolly experience as we have had here, because it's been quite a day just trying to check and make sure. We have a couple seconds left here, and tomorrow we're going to be giving you a whole new topic. And that topic is going to be, just making sure I have the right one, random walk hypothesis. I'm really excited about this one. That was one I looked at a lot when I was doing courses when I first started. So I think this random walk hypothesis will be very much a planned tour of the random walk. So we will see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. For now, we do have Brendan at the big desk.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome back in. It is 2 o'clock on what's turning into pretty exciting